the big term of 2024, Anderson, is the manosphere. And we're all living in the manosphere now.
All right, let's go Mexico. Yeah. Mexico versus the UK, Britain, man. Oh. Yes. Viva la Mexico. I'm not even into soccer and I'm into it. Welcome. Boy, do I got a good show for you today. This is going to be our build-up for our show on me and Mike are going to go talk to Paul Elam, like everybody keeps telling us we're going to. So here we go. Kick the tires and light the fires. Welcome to the Rational Mail live from Lost Wages, Nevada. Oh, by the way, Mike has informed me that he is going to be watching the NBA game that's going on here today. So he's putting his money where his mouth is. But in the meantime, let's start with this good fellow.
When a man cheats, it's like one person washing hands in different bowls. One person washing hands in different bowls. But when a woman cheats, it's like different persons washing hands.
Jesus.
In one bowl.
Blood of Jesus. Blood of
different person washing hands in one bowl. It's okay. Now you know the difference. I will always be here to assist.
Right on, Professor.
Professor. 2 minutes, man.
Do you get for women, the harder it gets.
Yeah.
It is not the same for men. And I think the thing that bothers me, there is, ladies, a biological reality. And we can dance around it as much as we like. I'm not telling you that women aren't smart and can't run the world and all the rest of it. That's not the point. There are realities. And we've spent the last 15, 20 years pretending they're not. That is a reality. That is that is very, very real.
There you go. That is very, very real. The wall is very, very real. I wonder what part of the manosphere that chick is. Oh, wait, no, she's not actually part of the manosphere. She's something else.
Like desirable men. Like women like men who other women like. When women go out and compete, they compete against other women. Like you're not carrying a Birkin bag because you think a man's going to look at it and go, wow, what a lovely bag she has. Like if a man thinks that, he's probably gay. So that's great. It's totally fine. Love having some gay friends. But the truth is, like a man has never been like, she's attractive, but that choice of bag really isn't right. Like I just don't see a heterosexual man making mate selection that way. So what is it really about? It's about competing with other women. It's about showing themselves as high value. I have high value items. I purchased this because I'm a girl boss, or I have a man who bought this for me as a sign of his adoration of me. These are all things that you want other women to envy you for, and you compete with. Men do too. Men, how much can you bench? How much can you squat? How much do you make? What watch do you wear? These are all ways we compete with our same gender or our same people in the dating pool. Now, again, what is she saying here? I don't want a guy who no other women want. I want a guy who lots of women want, and I've got him.
Sounds an awful lot like women want to be with the guy who other men want to be, and other men want to be, and other women want to bang. That's the long-winded way of saying that. So just letting you know.
Analysis.
And by the way, we were supposed to have Jim Sexton sometime this week, and he never got back to us again.
Prepared. Fully prepared. Fully prepared. Is it straight up? No, not 30. Looking good. All right. Let's go. That's the difference between 50% and 20% body fat.
I don't know, man. Which one did you like the best? 20% seems healthy.
I would go for women. I would say 18,
Yeah.
17, maybe.
I
Like
guess it
for
all
the
depends.
average chick, like if you're not a bodybuilder or you're not,
I
like
guess it all
doing,
depends on where you're storing the fat, right?
right. So I have to explain something to you. The reason is because we had the bikini contest, which I was unable to go to this last when was it, a Friday? Yeah. And but I did see the video and everything, and I was looking at there's a pretty good spread of like women there as far as like, you know, body types and stuff. There's some fat chicks there. There was some we had all shapes, all sizes, all ethnicities and everything else. But I mean, let's just be honest, the chicks who are going to be right around the 18 to 16% body fats, you're at a specific advantage in that state. Okay, now here I got to give you the preamble for this really quickly. Remember when our good friend Rob Henderson like was taking shots at the manosphere, talking about how we had we're just a bunch of yahoos using evolutionary psychology to get a bunch of guys to join our academy or our university or our group or some shit like that. You mean like Peterson?
Are what we call hypergamous. Hypergamous means that you like to mate up. So we spend a lot of time using an evolutionary perspective to understand humans. Why
is it okay for this chick and Rob Henderson and all the rest of these sons of bitches to basically say what the manosphere has been saying forever? Like this chick right here has pretty much is encapsulating or is giving you the Cliff Notes version of a talk I gave at the 21 convention in 2017. It's almost identical.
are some of the unique challenges both men and women have needed to solve when choosing mates? And it's about this really brilliant wisdom that we've inherited from our ancestors and why this theory is so useful in terms of understanding sex. And that's
sounds like they're trying to sell a course here for, I don't know, one of those fake, is this a fake academy? Oh, no, it's Peterson. It's got to be a real fucking academy,
the
right?
question of hormones. Our hormones create the experience of being the people that we are. Science and medicine has been very slow to acknowledge this. I think for a really long
No, you know who's been slow to acknowledge this? People like you. Now it's okay. Now the coast is clear. And you know why? Because all those manosphere red pill guys, that bro culture that you shit on all the time, we paved the way so it was okay for you guys to have this conversation. Here you go.
Women were told biological sex doesn't matter, that the only things that really made women different from men were the parts of the body that get covered by a bikini. And that's just not true, and is particularly damaging to women. When we change women, we change the world, and for better and sometimes for worse.
Wow. Evolution, sex, and the birth control pill. Where have I heard those themes before? For the last 22 years. Yes, that's correct. Oh, but then we have to listen to Dr. Deborah So like spew her bullshit to Bill Maher.
Andrew Tate. That type, yeah.
What do they call it? Manosphere?
Manosphere, yeah.
So they're putting out the idea that guys should have a harem because it's not easy to get a harem.
This fucking guy. Like whatever is the most like salacious, most like over the top bullshit is what he just like, well, actually I shouldn't say that, is what his writers tell him to say on the fucking show.
What's funny too is that it's not funny actually, but they draw on evolutionary psychology and biology to justify their ideas. Like, so basically like men like lots of sex with lots of women.
Sounds an awful lot like the hypergamy I just saw on Peterson's Academy, but you guys know better than I do.
So they should be able to sleep with as many women as they want, whereas women, their sexual chastity is the most important thing. So women, you as a man can sleep with as many women as you want, but your woman needs to be a virgin, and she just needs to pop out babies for you.
God, it's like the most like, if I could come up with like I don't know, 4 sentences that would completely distort everything, I don't think I could come up with. To bastardize this whole thing. I don't think I could combine as well as Dr. Deborah So.
And so that I think is adding also to this dynamic, because if you have young boys who are taking this, internalizing this ideology.
Hey, I got a better idea. How about guys who are 45 to 65 years old? What about them, Deborah?
And say they don't have a father.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They're the highest the demographic of the highest male self-deletion rate of any of anyone.
Or a strong male role model in their life. They think this is what healthy masculinity is. And if you have feminism and the education system telling them that men are toxic and men are bad, and they say, well, I'm a boy, I don't want to be bad, so I'm going to listen to anyone who's telling me that masculinity is good, even if it is such an extreme interpretation of it.
I've never experienced a more self-serving, like a bigger grifter than Deborah Soh. Deborah Soh is like the epitome of this doctorate level grifting.
And so then what you see is when they are dating, they're going to treat their female partners a certain way. The women are going to say, I don't like this, right? And understandably, I think feminism has done something to young women too, which has made them hate men. So in terms of the feedback to sextinction, I was not expecting this at all because trans activists are a whole other level of lunacy.
Well, at least we got that one right. Okay.
I was not expecting that type of backlash from both men and women. So I feel like I did a pretty fair job in terms of calling out both sexes and saying when they're being ridiculous in the book and saying, you guys are taking this too far or you're going this too far in this
You're always
direction.
doing the right.
Okay, but you're not willing to have that conversation with anybody who you've been criticizing in the book or on Bill Maher or anybody else. You're happy to go into friendly territory and talk it out with this guy who has literally no clue what he's talking about. But if you actually had some conviction, Deborah, you would have a conversation with people like myself or Mike Sartain or anybody else, anyone in the fucking manosphere. But you're not willing to do that
Thing when you're getting it from both sides. And that goes for sex too. No, I'm
See, you're not getting it from both sides. And here's the horny old man joke.
joking. Well, I mean, that is one thing apropos to this discussion that I think cannot be emphasized enough and maybe cannot be understood ever by a woman just the way we can't understand you fully.
Yeah, it's a complete mystery. Well, it's just one of those things. We'll never figure out this cosmic mystery of the universe.
But the difference between how much we are okay with many partners.
He's still hung up on that. What was funny is like when I first saw Bill Maher, he was on Married with Children. He was an actor. He was like a bit actor on the show Married with Children. Yeah. And I think he was like a game show host or something on Married with Children. And he was famous because he never got married and he never had I don't think he's ever been married or he's ever had like any kind of like really long-term thing going.
And that is just not what your biology leads you to. And that is, I guess, the danger of pornography.
Damn, man. It's like, where else can we go? It's like we're like driving the car all over the place. Yeah, let's look him up real quick. Bill Maher. What's his name?
Never been married.
Never married.
Confirmed bachelor.
Confirmed bachelor. Yep. How do I have a harem? You would think of all people, he'd be the one going after it, right? Yeah. Damn, look at the chicks he's with. He's with these young fucking chippies too, man. Oh, man. Put that on screen. All right,
one sec.
There you go. That's what Bill Maher's about right there, baby. Oh, he likes black chicks too? Nice. Sorry, Bill. I don't mean to out you, but damn, girl. Wow. See? I wonder if he got after it with Deborah Soh after the show. She's put on a little weight. She looked like she put on a little weight. I don't know. All right, let's get these last ones here. Drop this one.
It's an important part of marriage, or is it not?
Let's be honest, no man or woman would have said I do if they knew that sex would be rare, transactional, or weaponized. And yet, so many marriages fall into that trap.
And here's the truth. Sex is not just physical, it's spiritual and it's emotional as well.
When you stop pursuing each other, your connection withers. When you treat it as optional, intimacy dies a slow death.
We've both absolutely had those nights where we're tired or we're not in the mood or it's been a long day, but we still choose connection and we...
Just say we started fucking. We just started fucking, okay? It's okay.
We've never regretted it.
Because in those moments, we're not just checking a box. We're building trust.
No, you're whipping it out and going, you know what? Bravo. Good thing.
Igniting desire and cementing oneness.
Marriage.
Wait, let me text Missy. I think we should cement some oneness tonight. I wonder what she would say. I should do that and see what her response would be.
Grows or dies daily, and intimacy is one of the loudest ways that you communicate love, pursuit, and unity.
Well, it's the loudest ways if you're doing it right.
So here's the question. Are you growing closer or are you drifting silently?
If you're a Christian husband and you want to 10x your sex and become a
Oh, yes, 10x your
Let's go.
sex. Thank you, Grant Cardone.
high-level husband who is on fire, free, and followed, comment Blueprint below, and I'll send you a resource to get you dialed in.
Every time I see these, because they show up in my feed, like they show up in my Instagram feed and my IG, right? And every time I see them, I expect them to look at each other and go, you know, we should go cement our oneness right now.
You have to
I
comment
expect them to
Blueprint.
to just say, you know what? Why don't we go get after it? Let's go fuck.
In Carl University, you mentioned that it teaches you to speak to women. How does that work?
Oh, pretty simple. You walk up to a beautiful woman and you say, "Did I fuck you last week?"
Bullseye.
So cool.
Oh right, okay, and I take it that's very successful for you. Then is that? And what's the result of that generally? That they just come home with you?
Yes. That's simple.
It works most of the time. I've got a court case next week, but
Yeah.
I got a court case next week. Oh man, I love me some Michael Hearn. Michael Hearn's like on fire these days, man. Oh, and by the way, we looked it up and we said like we wanted to see if he like lived in Las Vegas, but apparently he lives in Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills, yeah. Mike, what the fuck are you doing there, man? You need to be in Vegas for this shit. But apparently, and I didn't know this. He makes appearances at Dragon's Lair here,
Yeah, Dragon's
and then
Lair.
Powerhouse too,
Yeah.
which is my home gym too. So if I see Mike Hearn at Powerhouse, I'm going to make damn sure I get him in on the show. He probably won't break character. It'll be like, you know, it's almost like he's like,
that'd be good though, because the character still falls in line. It's just gonna be
how awesome
exaggerated.
would it be if I could get like Satchel and Mike Starr and like, and then from Steel Panther and get Michael, and they'd never break character.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking awesome. And all right, guys. Well, welcome to today's show. Should I do a monologue? I've been told that like I should probably stop doing those intro videos because everybody says you need to jump into the topic and the meat of the matter. Like as soon as you're like, they didn't even want me to play the fucking intro music anymore. Right. And I'm not going to do that because it's my fucking show. And this is a talk radio or talk show. And I have cut my teeth with Pat Campbell back in the day. And I don't know. I seem to think, and I don't know how many other people have an intro music like recognizable.
Like recognizable?
themes.
I don't
think
so.
I'm the only show that has that, right? Because I've been sticking with, and I'd made the music, right? So I've always felt like that like certain shows like Seinfeld or Friends or like some of those old, like the older, well, it's old, like the 90s, at least the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, they always had a theme song, right? You could like Hill Street Blues, right? You knew what that song was, or I don't know, you can name the show.
Yeah,
and they always had SpongeBob.
everything.
Fuck. Welcome to SpongeBob. You always need, are you ready, kids?
Yeah, exactly.
I can hear you. Corey Taylor does it better than I do, but yeah, man, it's like, so I've always been of the opinion that a show should have at least a good lead in, or I might do a video sometime. Like I would love to do a sizzle reel, but it's still going to last the same amount of time as the regular theme song. And then I like to be able to mix up the, sort of the intro part, the whatever my clip is, my quotes are from that one. And I think people have come to expect that, but like people keep saying, man, Rollo, you need to change it up. And we're probably going to do it with Access Vegas. Like Mike wants to like just really abbreviate the intro music that Giovanni Sanders gave us. And I think people are kind of like they recognize when the Jesse Ventura quote comes on from Predator, which Mike really loves, right? And so Mike says, well, I don't want to lose that, but like, let's just like put in, let's just make it like 10 seconds. I'm like, okay, and then we just jump right in. But then they want to go straight to reaction videos and viral reaction videos. And it's like, well, all we're doing is like, how about we create some videos instead of like reacting to them? Well, it's kind of hard to do when you have like a panel show with a bunch of girls there, right? But that's just you just got to jump right in. And I'm like, well, yeah, if you have like short form videos or if you have shorts or something like that, I can understand the logic behind that. But it's like, people come and watch the show because they want to be a part of the show. Like I don't do this show just for me. I mean, everybody in the chat who shows up every Sunday, and then the same people show. I got people who just follow me wherever I go. I don't know how you fucking find me too sometimes. If you haven't figured it out already, I was on a show with Gary the Numbers Guy. Is this name Grinberg or something like Greenberg? Anyways, Gary. And I did speaking of really brief clips, this is where things get a little convoluted, right? So I did a video, and our topic, when I went to go talk with Gary, I didn't really necessarily even disagree with him. I knew he wouldn't, but Gary was talking about how we should repeal the 19th. It's kind of a moot point. It's kind of stupid to even have this conversation, but I'll entertain it, right? And then I explained I talked to him for about 20, 25 minutes in this one clip. So if you want to watch my clip, it's like I'm the second guy on, and we talked about repealing the 19th and how, women's right to vote. And I got pretty deep. I tried to elevate the conversation. Like, Gary wants to be a professional wrestler. He's there for the clips. I'm there to sort of elevate the conversation a little bit. So I go in there and I say, no, I don't think women should have the right to vote. I also don't think a lot of men should have the right to vote either. And so now we get into this conversation about, what is a republic and what is a democracy and what is a republic, what is a democratic, all that kind of stuff, right? And having skin in the game, and we just kind of got into it. It was actually a pretty good conversation considering it was Gary sitting across from me, right? But you only got, and I understand this is how the game is played. I have nothing against Sean Kelly, and I know Sean's been in some hot water recently because Goobs has been coming at him, and I'll talk about that because I know people want me to talk about that. So I'll get into that here in just a second. But before I do, I just wanted to point out that the 45-second clip that Sean Kelly and his guys did to be the sort of teaser to get you to watch the whole video. It's like a 10-on-1. It's supposed to be one of those 10-on-1 things, like a Jubilee where they put like Jordan Peterson, or they put Destiny in one of these, or I think even Andrew Wilson had gone on one of these, but it's a Jubilee, and they get like 10 people in a circle, and it's usually stupid, college kids. And then there's some guy that they really hate in the middle, and then they got to come in there and they're just giving him shit. Yeah. That's all they do is just give him shit. They don't want to have any like really substantive conversation. They just want to go, didn't you say? And it's just this fucking inquisition, but it works and people like it. So Sean Kelly's been trying to do his spin on it, and the first person he gets is Gary the Numbers Guy. And they were going to talk about numerology and all this other shit. And it's funny that the people that Sean got for that show. Shout out to Admiral Gibbs, pretty cool dude. Met him. There was a kid on there too that I met. Sorry, dude, I forget your name, but shout out to you. And then Raging Tomato, who I'm actually supposed to go on her show on Tuesday. I'll let you know when and where that's going to happen. We're going to be talking about our appearance on that show. But anyways, I thought I got into some, for me, I talk about intersexual dynamics, and that was as close to a topic I could sort of like consider in my wheelhouse. So that's what I talked about. And of course, everybody on Instagram, including like good friends, like girlfriends of mine, were like, I can't believe you believe this. I'm like, well, you didn't watch the whole 20 minutes. You saw 45 seconds of a 25 minute, dissertation. But that's all that matters, right? That's all they want to hear is a buzz clip. And if they agree with you, they love you and they want to suck your dick. And if they don't, they hate you and they never want to talk to you again, right? Please watch the whole fucking clip. Do yourself a favor. Don't be lazy. Intellectual lethargy defines your freaking generation. Please don't be like that. Go watch and see what I said. And then we can have actually probably a much better conversation as a result of that, right? But that's not what everybody wants. They want shorts and they want to be able to tease it in. And I get it. And I understand that that's how the game is played. I don't know. It's really difficult for me in this new sort of how the algorithm has changed. Mm-hmm. And you and I have talked about this before. It's like everybody wants entertainment, right? Are you not entertained, right? But can we like educate people at the same time that we're entertaining people? And that's kind of my sweet spot right there. I want to be able to be somewhat entertaining. People go, oh, you're old. Okay, fine. The fact that you're saying that's pretty entertaining. So I'm going to go with that and lean into that or whatever the fuck you want. But I'm also going to educate you every time you watch this show, because this show and Access Vegas and Mike's the Sartain Report, all that stuff it's meant to be educational, but it's also kind of like, if it hits a pain point for you, you're going to watch it. You're going to repost it. You're going to check it out, because I got to say, for as much as I hate the new algorithm change, I understand why they did it. I completely get why they're all they're doing is it's just a market correction. They're just going where they know that the attention is going. And it's not like, I love it when like I have to listen to, even Dr. Deborah So said some shit like this with Bill Maher. It's like, well, those young boys get this manosphere stuff fed to them by the algorithm. No, they fucking don't. They see it, they like it, and guess what? They say, oh, would you like to see more of this stuff? Okay, fine. It's not the algorithm that's like forcing it down their fucking throats. It's that's what they wanted to see. And that's what they're going to see more of. And that's all it's doing, is responding to what your interests are. You know what's in my feeds? My feeds are bodybuilding, mostly gear. My feeds are Camaros, because I have a Camaro. Hot chicks everywhere. I've got nothing but titty shots everywhere on my Instagram for sure. Twitter is a little bit different because they don't like feed you that stuff like overtly, but because I follow all of our girls on Access Vegas, some of them more than others. And then they have friends who want to be on the show. I follow them back because I want to. It's a business thing. I got to do it. If you look at my gallery of pictures, it's mostly just videos and stories and reels and stuff like that from the show, because I want to be able to. It's an advertising device for me. Okay, I'm not trying to pick up chicks. It'd be great if I will. Trust me, the last thing I would do is exactly what I'm doing on my in my Instagram, if that were the case. But then I get Warhammer 40,000 in my inbox. Sometimes, well, now I'm getting a lot more Diablo Immortal because I've been playing that a lot. Pretty much that's it. I mean, when it's the Golden Knights are playing, then I'll get Golden Knights in my feed and stuff, because it's like, oh, is this what you want to see? Sure, we'll just feed it back to you, right? So it's really the individual. It's not like some nefarious plot by the Jews or whatever. It's just, that's what you want to see. The algorithm is going to feed it back to you. So don't go talking about the algorithm when it's the kids themselves. And so that's because they don't want to have to answer that question. They don't want to have to answer the questions. Why are these kids actually looking for this? Why? What do we do after this? And so I have been reading, as you know, was it A Billion Years of Sex Differences by Dr. Steve Stewart Williams. Okay, great. I love Steve Stewart Williams. I'm not finished with the book yet. I'm about 2/3 of the way through it. I am reading it with my eyes, unlike Mike Sartain is waiting for the Audible. He's probably got the books somewhere, squirreled away somewhere. But I actually read. I actually had to read a lot when I was in college. So I'm kind of used to it. I am an author myself. So, so I'm reading this, and one of the things that I notice, and this is not just about Steve Stewart Williams, but it's about other authors who are in that kind of genre. So one of the things I have been doing for quite some time is I follow Rob Henderson, as you know, and I have a very kind of love-hate relationship with Rob. I loved him when he wasn't Dr. Rob Henderson, when he was the student, when he was let's say 2020, 2021, that was peak Rob Henderson right there. And I still have bookmarked a lot of the quotes and a lot of the stats and a lot of the research and everything that he was just shooting out there on Twitter before Elon came and bought it up. And I still have those quotes, which is funny because like the Rob Henderson, who's like the post-doctorate Rob Henderson, who has to be not just a doctor, whatever he is, psychologist. I don't even know what he is, what you would call him. He's an author. He's an influencer for sure. But I was going to say, it's not enough just to be an author. It's not enough just to have your doctorate in whatever. It's not enough to be like Dr. Orion Taraban. You can't, Taraban can't be who he is if he's just doing a private practice. He has to go out there and be an influencer. He has to go and talk to all these people. He has to be out there all the time. And it's always shuck and jive, man. And you can't get away from the shuck and jive. And so you've got Rob Henderson, who I knew before his doctorate. And then there's the Rob after his doctorate. And the Rob after his doctorate is part of the machine. And the same thing, I hate to say it, but every time I read the first paragraph of the next chapter of Steve Stewart Williams' book, it's always an apology. We're going to get into a topic now that we kind of have to tiptoe around. Like, why? You're a fucking doctor. You have a doctorate in evolutionary psychology. Ain't no fucking tiptoeing around. Why would that be the first thing out of your mouth? Because the editors told him to do that. because they want to be able to say, well, and pretty much this is in pretty much every single chapter, every single topic that he gets into. It's always, well, we have these sex differences and they're important, but they're really not as important as that. But they're still important, but they're not important. But they're kind of important, but they're not important. They're really significant, but they're not really that significant, but they can be significant. And it's like, make up your fucking mind. There's a really great book. If you're an author, if you're an aspiring author, I would suggest, people want to know what my reading list is. I can give you like all my Robert Greene favorites. That's easy. But if you are an author, if you're an aspiring author, and I told Ryan Stone this a while back, there's a really great book and it's called Writing Without Bullshit. And it's by Josh Bernoff. You can find it. It's fairly cheap. And that taught me how to write more concisely. Like if you notice, like if you read the Player's well, I guess if you like sort of like, I guess the religion would be included in that. But if you read Player's Handbook and you read Reignite, and then you go, well, if you read my first book, like you read The Rational Male, and then you read Player's Handbook and Reignite, you can tell there's a little bit of stylistic difference in those because I read Writing Without Bullshit by Josh Bernoff. And all it is just like there's one primary, like prime directive of that book, and it is do not waste the reader's time. And that counts for writing an email, writing a memo, writing some corporate newsletter, writing a blog, writing a tweet, whatever the fuck it is. It doesn't matter what you are writing. Never waste the reader's time. So when I listen to Mike and he says, we need to get into topics immediately, well, within the first 10 seconds, I understand why. Because anything else could be considered wasting the viewer's time. I want the content. Throw it in my mouth right now, right? It's like you're driving through Jack in the Box and you're like, okay, I'm going to order a jumbo Jack, and they throw it in your mouth as you drive through and go on to your next day. That's pretty much the info bite illustration that we're working with. The people want it instantaneously. Mm-hmm. If they don't have it within the first 10 seconds, you're going to lose them. There has to be a hook within the first 10 seconds. But if your hook is, we have to tiptoe around this, and you constantly do that, why are you even writing the book? Why is, if there's a billion years of sex differences, if there's a billion years between like, well, women are different in this way and men are different in this way. He quotes Steven Pinker, right? Steven Pinker's what men are mostly interested in things and women are mostly interested in people, right? It's a biological, evolutionary, neurological wiring it's baked into our firmware. But if you go and you say that without saying, well, but then there are some women who like things, and then there are some guys who are kind of into people too. It's like you fucking defeat the purpose. You stick to the bold fucking statement and let the fucking cards fall where they are. And I'm getting so fucking sick of listening to this yin yang. That's all it is. And it only applies when we're talking about women. And it goes back to what's known as the women are wonderful effect. I've read you the description on it many times on this show. But it's this pervasive need to square the circle. It's to complete the circuit, right? So whenever we say something that might even hint at being an unflattering evolutionary fact about female nature, we always have to follow it up with, well, not all women are like that. Most of them are like that. It's kind of like it's the bell curve, like they're all like this, except for that little tiny bit on the very end or on either side of it, right? And that's what we're going to focus on right there. It's another form of apex fallacy, really, if you think about it. Stop doing that. You guys are too fucking, especially fucking Steve Stewart Williams, who I have so much professional respect for. He's a consummate statistician, great fucking writer, makes it accessible, but you kill all of that when it's, we're going to tiptoe around this. Can I please tell you about some sex differences, please? More, please. May I have some more, please? And then, like, I subscribe to his newsletter on Substack, which is always fantastic. It's always great. But then, like, he produced, because he's trying to promote the book, which you do when you have a new, publication out. And so he's going around. He wrote this article on his Substack, and I don't know if you can see it because it's probably behind his paywall, but he wrote this article about how he was like, in the book, he talks about how difficult it is to like get past like sort of the gatekeepers to talk about sex differences. And then and then experiences exactly that when he's trying to publish this article that promotes the book that talks about how difficult it is to get past the gatekeeper, like the liberal wokesy gatekeepers. But at the same time, he's like, well, yeah, but let's balance things out here. It's the yin and the yang, because if women do it, then men must do it too, unless it's just something that's unique to men. And then men are dogs, men are pigs. We don't have to explain them. They're very simple, stupid creatures. So don't worry about yinning and yanging those guys. But if it's a woman, then we have to complete the yin and the yang. Fuck that. Can we just talk about, if you're going to talk about men, fine, just talk about men. Can you talk about just women without actually bringing men in to fucking balance that? No, you don't have to do that. I don't have to do, you have to do that. Professionals have to do that. If you have an ongoing tenure at the university you're at, you're probably going to have to do that. Hell, I'll show you the video here in just a minute, but they were protesting Dr. Warren Farrell from coming and talking on, I think it was in Canada, some Canadian university, because they think he's an MRA. I'm not sure he would identify as an MRA. Maybe he would. But Dr. Warren Farrell I think he's fantastic. I don't think he's going to be around much longer. So enjoy it while you can. But he's just a great dude. But you're going to talk about how difficult it is to get people to listen to sort of the facts. It's like factualism. It's empiricism. And again, you're going to have this emotionalism versus empiricism. But if you are going to pander to that emotionalism in the book, in every introductory paragraph for the next topic, what good was? Why write the book at all? Why bother with it? If all you're going to do is just, caveat after caveat, why am I reading this? And it's like, stop fucking apologizing, man. Stop fucking apologizing for human nature, for the way men are and the way women are. Just go out there and fucking put it out there. That's because this is how you get Dr. Deborah So. This is how you get this distortion on Bill Maher. This is how you get, people want to say, oh, let me tell you about the manosphere because I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I know Andrew Tate. You don't know jack fucking shit about the manosphere if that's the first name that comes out of your mouth. Well, they take all of this evolutionary psychology stuff and they use it for their own pre-existing biases. Wait a minute. How about this? How about those aren't actually pre-existing biases? How about they took this information and they interpreted that data differently than you? Because they have the freedom to do so. I posted this on Substack and people gave me shit about it, saying you can kindly go fuck yourself. But I posted this. I said one of the most liberating parts of being in the manosphere and being quote unquote red pill is I'm not beholden to losing my tenure. I'm not beholden to worrying whether my female audience, which is practically non-existent, is going to give me grief for saying that I think that women shouldn't vote. And I also think that men shouldn't vote. Right? That's the part that you leave out of the clip. Right? I don't think men should vote either. I don't think women should vote. I think if you have skin in the game, ladies, if you served in the military, you should vote. You should have the right to vote automatically because you put your life on the line. There you go. Guys, same thing. Military service, no problem. Maybe even selective service. Maybe all men should have the right to vote because they're putting their asses on the line in the United States. Military conscription. Okay, we can argue this all day long, but the problem is you're never going to get that conversation from a 45-second buzz clip. But you can create this entire narrative for yourself from a 45-second buzz clip. The thing is it's not going to make any difference if you're always going to be apologizing, if you're always going to be marching it back. And that's why I said there's something liberating about being able to write about this and doing what I've done for the last 23, 24 years right now. And it's that I have, and I don't think a lot of people even maybe Ryan Stone and some of the other guys who are like Nuke and some of these other dudes who are in the space right now. I think it's important to remember that we have the luxury of not worrying about giving a fuck. We don't care about nothing. I don't have the same concerns about posting sex differences, even though I have a book on sex differences, right? I don't have to worry about that in the same way that Steve Stewart Williams does, or Rob Henderson, or Will Costello, or any of these other guys, right? I don't have to worry about my accreditation or whatever the fuck it is being revoked because I said something that some blue-haired feminist at this bumfuck university had a problem with. You want to know why Myron Gaines will generate more buzz and get more people to come out to a college campus than Rob Henderson or any of these other guys? It's because he doesn't give a fuck. I'm not saying Myron's right about everything. I'm just saying look at the delivery. Look at how he goes and puts that out there. He can go do that. The reason why he has more people following him or watching him than Steve Stewart Williams or Rob Henderson, all these guys fucking combined, is because he doesn't have to worry about stepping on people's toes. I think it was, I actually quoted this. I know it was. Do you remember, was it Kathy, what's her name, who went up against, she was the interviewer, and she was interviewing, it's Kathy something or other, but she was interviewing Jordan Peterson. And Jordan Peterson, this was when Jordan was like on his game. And everybody remembers this. She's the one who girl says, the gal who says, so what you're saying is that's where all those memes come from. But during that conversation, he says, you have to risk offending people to think correctly. You have to be able to risk offense so that you can have a conversation. So that's why I'm not too miffed, I'm not too concerned about people taking me out of context for the whole, repeal the 19th thing. I'm not a repealer. I just don't think, I think we should re-engineer the way voting happens as it is. But that offended a lot of people. And what happens is when you offend somebody, then you can start to have a conversation with that person, unless you're apologizing for what you said immediately before and after you say what you're going to say, your bold statement. And why did I bring up Josh Bernoff and the writing without bullshit? Because one principle that he talks about is eliminating the what are called amplifier words. Like if you say something like, this was very, very important, right? Mm-hmm. You just say, this is important because X, Y, and Z. Okay. You're eliminating all the bullshit fluff, because what happens is if you add very or immensely or whatever, anything that's sort of an amplifier word, it has the opposite effect. People think you're full of shit because you had to amplify that point in the first place. But if you don't amplify it and you just go balls to the wall, you're like, this is the way things are, and this is how we're this. I don't have to say, in my opinion, that no, I don't. You'll see that I don't use those in my essays anymore. In my opinion, as a man, or I love it when women go, as a woman, I'm going to tell you a thing or two about women. I'm going to speak for all of womankind. How fucking hubristic and solipsistic is that, right? But the thing is if somebody says that, if somebody wants to use a universal, or if they want to amplify something with a very this, or Donald Trump is the king of amplifiers. It's going to be huge. It's going to be tremendous. Those are amplifier words, right? It would have been better if he says, this is what we're going to fucking do, and this is why we're going to do it. Because it's confidence in what you're saying from the jump. Instead of going, well, we're going to get into this topic, but before we do, let me tell you why we have to tiptoe around it. There's sex differences, okay, but they're not that important, but they are that important, but they're kind of not that important. Then why are you reading the book? If they're not important, why did I spend fucking $30 to get this from the UK? Stop apologizing for yourself. Take away the amplifiers and just be bold. What is it? I forget which law of power it is, but it's enter into action with boldness. And any misstep in boldness can be covered up with more boldness. Basically, that's it, right? It's irrational self-confidence. Put it out there. Let the chips fucking fall where they are, because that is going to be a more honest conversation than if you are just caveat this and you're wishy-washy and you come off as disingenuous because you used an amplifier, because you used a caveat, because you used some sort of qualifier, because you didn't want to. I don't want to step on the wrong toes. Little ladies, we got to take the ladies into account, right? You want to know why I hate I love pretty much every book that Dr. David Buss has put out except for one, Men Behaving Badly, because that's all it was masculinity apologetics. That's the whole point of that book. will say, well, yeah, ladies, you're right about men. Men are dogs, but sorry, we have a penis. Sorry, we're masculine. Sorry, we have testosterone. Can you please forgive us? Fuck you. Like, stop apologizing for being a man. And that's the monologue for today. Stop fucking apologizing for being a dude. I'm sick of this fucking, I don't want to seem like I'm toxically masculine. Fuck that. Just go into it. Do the thing. Oh, don't be worried about shit, man. Just go do the fucking thing. I'm going to David Goggins your ass here. Stop apologizing for being masculine. Stop worrying whether it's going to be seen as beta or alpha or toxic or non-toxic, whatever it be. Just fucking do it. Instinct. It's why fucking God and the universe and evolution gave it to you. Gut check. Just go and be like, don't worry about it. Oh, God. There's nothing more feminine. I'm not saying there's necessarily anything wrong with the feminine, right? You got to throw in the caveat, right? But the thing is that there's nothing that's more like, it's like, why do we have to make just being like masculine or feminine? Why do we have to turn it into like trigonometry? Why do we have to turn sex into calculus? What gets me is whenever I see one of these research things where they say, well, it turns out we've done the research, a 10-year research at like these colleges, and this is the 18 to 29 demographic, and we really just meticulously done these numbers, and guess what? It turns out men have a much higher sex drive than women. Okay, well, so that's at the end of the calculus, equation. We figured out what we already fucking knew to begin with. Congratulations, egghead. You figured out your dick. It's like, stop apologizing. Stop apologizing for fucking. I've said this before. I'll just recap this really quickly. I've said on a few occasions when people say, well, Rolla, what can we do about woke culture? What can we do about the lefties and the progressives and everything? And look, I said I punch both ways. I'll poke the tradcons in the eyes and the wokesies in the eyes at the same time. And I think it kind of applies to both, but since we're talking about the wokesy kind of thing, stop using their language. Stop using the language of emotionalism, because that's really where we're at. I've got this really great video for you that I wanted to show you that's going to sum this up. But I've talked about this ad infinitum, about how pretty much I can distill damn near any issue between men and women, any political issue for sure. You could even say social, racial, whatever. I can pretty much break the conversation and the debate down into two languages: empiricism and emotionalism. And we have vastly increased our vocabulary with respect to emotionalism over the last God knows how long. Let me see if I can find this one. Okay, here we go. Watch this.
Just not a psychologist, an ecologist, a guy who studies ecosystems, asked a question that nobody in psychology had thought to ask. In 2021, Martin Scheffer and his colleagues studied the actual words that people are using in books and newspapers from 1850 to the present day. Now, they tracked emotional-loaded words versus fact-based reasoning words like determine or conclusion or evidence or result. And they came up with three fascinating findings. Number one, rational language increased from 1850 all the way to 1980s. We got more rational in the books and in the articles that we wrote over the course of that period of history. Then in the 1980s, emotional language started rising. And in 2007, everything accelerated. We went off an emotional cliff. We went emotionally insane. Now, obviously, that's an example of what it means to be emotionally insane, is using terms like emotionally insane. But if you look at any language in any news report this week, my guess is there's going to be hyperbole. There's going to be urgency. Politicians, the same thing. And so what we need to recognize is that's emotional engineering. It works because feelings do not necessarily influence your mood. They just impact the way in which you perceive reality. Mm-hmm. And what we mentioned earlier, this notion of affective realism, is the idea that your feelings about your experience become the reality of your experience. So your feelings about the news dictate how you actually interpret the news and the kind of world that you live in.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm going to let him continue here in just a quick sec, but like, this is what I'm getting at. And you will hear this from a lot of women will say the same thing. Like when we were on, I think it was the last, maybe the second to last, Access Vegas we were on. It was the one where Star Child was on. Remember that chick? Yeah. And then they don't want to hear empiricism. The language of empiricism always sounds like hate to the language of emotionalism. And that's more in a nutshell what he's talking about right here. It's this feel, like when we talk about feels before reals, it's easy. That's a bumper sticker. It's easy. Yeah, you're right. We do. All these poor kids, they live in the participation trophy generation, right? Okay, what are you going to do about it? Stop fucking using that language. That's what you're going to do about it. Stop apologizing for using empirical language that might, tiptoe around whatever the emotional appeals that we feel like we have to, like unconsciously feel like we have to do. So when I look at where I was talking to those girls that were on Access Vegas at one time, we're literally talking past each other. Like when I go and I look at the replay, and I don't know, maybe I was in the wrong mood or something. Usually I lean into that bullshit, right? Because because I know it's not going to go anywhere, but something just fucking rubbed me, like rustled my jimmies. And I was just like, no, I'm going to fucking make this fucking point finally, right? And I think it was because of the drunk ass Star Child chick that was there, right? Dominia, right? And I felt bad later on because I'm like, I kind of like beat the fuck up over her. I didn't have to, but I did. I kind of did. I kind of had to do that because I'm sick of fucking apologizing. I'm sick of fucking apologizing or playing along or pandering to this bullshit because it gets us nowhere. It solves nothing. It's like it's not about the nail, right? That I could show it to you again. I got the video on tap now. At some point, you got to pull the nail out of the bitch's head. Either you got to pull the nail out, solve the problem, or you're going to be sitting on the couch indefinitely, or you just get up off the couch and say, "Fuck it, I'm out." Well, I decided to pull the nail. I chose violence. I decided to pull the nail out of the head, right? And that's just the thing, is like the emotion defines the reality. Did you catch what he was saying about that? The emotional state, the emotional feel of it. And this is the way that women prioritize conversation. They prioritize communication. They prioritize emotion, the emotionalism, the emotion before the reason. I'm not saying that they don't get to reason. Sometimes they don't, but more often they'll go through, okay, instinct, emotion, and then reason. And then so when they're talking about something or they're considering a new concept, that's usually the process they run it through. For men, it's usually instinct, reason, and then emotion. Then we've solved the problem. We figure out, ooh, man, we almost got killed there. We figured out how to kill a woolly mammoth, but man, Mike and Jim got fucked up by those horns, man. We got to watch that next time, like they're, oh my God, men process emotion in a different phases than women do. And there's nothing fucking wrong with that. And I'm not going to apologize for putting that boldly out there. If you have a problem with me for saying that, please. This is the manosphere. You know what we like to do in the manosphere? We like to have fucking conversations. Unlike Bill Maher and unlike Dr. Deborah So and unlike all the rest of these fucking grifters who want to come into this space like fucking tourists and tell us what we're all about. Fuck you. Come here, sit across from me, and tell me to my face why I'm wrong. I will have way more professional respect for you if you did that. I will have more respect for you as a human being if that was something that was even an afterthought for you, but it's not. It's all about the fucking clicks. It's all about the fucking engagement. That's all it is. Sit across, have that conversation. No one, until you're willing to do that, A-list podcaster, influencer, whatever, gentle manosphere, anti-manosphere, I don't know what the fuck you're calling yourselves right now. Here's the difference between us and you. We're willing to have the conversation. We're willing to sit across from you and say, you want to tell me, okay, give me a list of topics. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why this is untrue. I'll be happy to go and tell you why you're full of shit. Or maybe I learned something. Maybe you're right. But we don't even get to that point where you get to school me because you don't even have the fucking conversation in the first place. So, but getting back to the emotional side of things, it's like when a guy is talking about the usage of emotional language versus rational reason, empirical based language, you look at the jump in the emotional language. It's basically our native tongue right now. And as he was saying before, that's how you got, he was saying, you know, like the emotion describes the reality, right? That's how you get the Oprah-fication of society, right? Live your truth, girl. No, there is the truth. And then you can interpret it however the fuck you want to, but the truth stays the truth. It's an empirical truth. 2 + 2 = 4. 1 + 1 does not equal 11. Sometimes it does. If you just put a 1 and a 1 beside each other, then it's 11. Jesus Christ. You guys are fucking doomed. Aaron Clary's right. I'm just going to go fucking live in the woods somewhere. Aaron, let me know what the housing is like and where you are, because I'm coming there next. Jesus Christ. But no, that's where this all comes from. So let him finish this out. This is too good not to let you guys see the whole thing.
So next time you're reading the news or scrolling and you feel a surge of agreement or outrage, pause. Ask yourself, am I responding to actual evidence or real news, or am I responding to the way in which it's framed, the emotional language? What kind of language is that politician, is that news outlet using, and what are they trying to do? When you start to ask, what is this particular information source trying to do? It helps you to start to recognize when you're being emotionally manipulated.
There you go. All right. So that's a good step in the right direction. Anyways, I would also argue this, and this is Rollo Tomasi telling you this, is stop using the language of emotionalism. Stop pandering to it. You guys have heard me say this before. I'll give you because it's kind of universal, but like, when we pander to sort of like the trans activists, when we pander to the woke, I don't say the woke side of that sort of mindset, right? When you pander to that, it's like when I've used this illustration before. It's like when the mentally retarded child is given the football at the homecoming game. And Johnny gets the football and he goes, "Run, Johnny, run to the fucking, you're going to win the game for us, Johnny." And he runs down to the end and I win, you know, and I go, "Yeah, Johnny." And the whole fucking crowd goes wild in the bleachers and everything. And Johnny, the Down syndrome kid, won the thing. Everybody plays along. We all clap along. And you know why we clap along? Because we want the kid to feel good, right? You know, he's not normal. He's not in a good state, right? By the way, we've figured out how to edit that gene out now.
Yep.
The Down syndrome gene editing. I know, which I predicted, by the way, in Rational Male Religion. But should we edit that out, or should we just leave it in there? You won't have remember, what was that? Is it Life Goes On? Was that the show that had the Down syndrome kid in it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you don't get that show anymore. You don't get to watch that show no more. Was it Love on the Spectrum?
Yeah, no more.
I had this one, I didn't show it, but I have this one video clip where this lady was talking about how she just loved Love on the Spectrum. And it's like, oh, it's so hard. You know why I like this so much? Because they're not cynical and they still believe in love and hope and everything, and they believe in love. And I'm like, so basically you have to be retarded to believe in love. I don't think you're making that's not the win you're looking for here. But anyways, I digress. So you got the kid who wins. But the problem is then next Monday, after the homecoming dance and everything's over, Johnny still thinks he won the fucking football game. And enough people are still at school go, "Yeah, Johnny, you won the football game." Until Johnny finds some way to wish you away to the fucking cornfield. If you don't tell him he won if you don't play along, you don't pander to that psychosis. And what happens when enough people do that and they do it often enough, then guess what? Johnny actually won the football game because it felt right. He didn't empirically win the football game, because obviously he didn't. But because we've been repeating that over and over and over again, the emotional state of that, how we felt about that means, yeah, he actually won. And now we can transfer that over into, well, I don't feel like a man today. I feel like a woman, so I'm going to go compete in women's swimming today. How dare you tell me what I should and shouldn't feel? And now we're going to base policy on that. We're going to base policy on on emotional language, on emotionalism rather than rationalism, rather than on the stuff that until it gets you killed, until you playing along. We will pretend that Johnny won the football game, the retarded kid won the football game, until the point where us sustaining that lie is dangerous to our lives, or till one person dies as a result of it. There you go. That was my monologue for today. Actually, that's more than my monologue for today. But there you go. Let's jump into some of these. We got 10 super chats. Sir, Mr. Jason, you are first. All hail the God Emperor. I'm feeling very good today. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I'm not feeling good today. I'm running. I told Kyle this morning. I'm running on probably about 2.5, 3 hours of sleep. Why, do you ask, are you running on 3 hours of sleep? Because I did on 4th of July what I do every 4th of July. No, I did not drink myself into oblivion. I stayed at home with Ned because Ned hates fireworks. And he freaks out to the point where his heart rate goes up and he doesn't know what to do with himself. He certainly won't go outside. So I basically sit there, and I didn't even go to bed last night. I just stayed in the living room with him, and I laid down on the couch and just stayed with him the whole freaking night. And then I thought, okay, it's 3:30 in the morning. Surely they've stopped shooting off the fireworks in Las Vegas. I'll let him out. Boom. Okay, 4:00 in the morning. I don't hear any. Boom. My wife gets up at 5 because that's usually when we go and run the dogs. Boom. Somebody is shooting off a firecracker or shooting off some form of fireworks at 5. It's light outside, okay? The dawn has broken. You can't even see it. You're still shooting these fucking fireworks off. That's what I did. That's why I'm so freaking out of it right now. But anyways. Yes, that's remember, I'm not against fireworks. I mean, hell, I've shot them off myself. I like watching fireworks. I actually very much enjoy 4th of July. It's one of my favorite holidays. But it's not Ned's favorite holiday, so just saying. Let's see. Most women think they are Rose, but in fact, they are Madame Bijou. Titanic. Madame Bijou? Look up Madame Bijou on Titanic. I think they're Rose. They're not Rose. Actually, they are actually Rose. I should have their Rose when she's ancient. Madame Bijou. Oh, she was the old chick who like encouraged the whole thing. Yeah, okay. She's actually a historical figure too. She actually exists. Yeah. Oh, wow.
She's the American.
Wow. She wasn't the unsinkable, Molly Brown or whatever her name was? Charlie Brown. God Emperor, yes. Don't get in a hose, man. I don't get any hose.
Like, man, Rolex, I don't get no hose, man.
There's your $2.99. Spend it well. Hey, man. Talk to one upside. I actually went to Monica Almaguer's party, or 4th of July party yesterday too. It was a pool party. It was a lot of fun. But while I was there, I was texting back and forth with a certain guy who was the lead singer from All That Remains.
Ooh, shit.
I was very much trying to get him on this show today, but he's flying in today. So Phil Labonte, if I can get Phil in and in a midweek show or something like that, be ready because it's going to be like on a moment's notice. And I'm going to run down here. But if I can get Phil Labonte to just give me an hour, I'm going to do it, man. But he's going to be at Timcast is they might be tonight. Timcast is going to be live broadcast from Las Vegas from Origin Studios, which is the same studio that I did Gary the Numbers guy in, and then Access Vegas. It's actually the same place. So look for that. And if they need a fill in, I might be on. Hey, it happened in December. It might happen again. Bill Maher was the host of the dating show Bud Bundy was on. See, I was right. I was right about that. Look up Bill Maher on Married with Children. The woman picked a bodybuilder named Rodrigo. I think I remember that. God, man, this is so long ago. Bill Maher. There he is. Oh, there it is. That's Bill Maher right there. Put that one up. That's fucking great. Oh, that's pretty good. There he is. That's Bill Maher. You can't miss. You can't miss. That's awesome. That's Bill Maher. That's where you got to start. Never forget on Married with Children. And then you got the Bill Maher show. We're all living in the manosphere. Yes, we are. I need to make that a sound drop.
Yeah, you do.
I'll turn that into. That's Dana Bash on CNN, by the way. Sir, Mr. Jason, Rollo, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. No, if it ain't broke, add more features. Uncle Swallow, would you be opposed to a pod class dedicated to the Women Are Wonderful effect? I could. It'd be a half an hour show. But really, every show was about the Women Are Wonderful effect. Yeah, I could do that. I could certainly do that. What's funny is like not enough people really even recognize that. I brought that up every now and then. I will copy and paste the link to the Wikipedia description of the Women Are Wonderful effect, and I'll pass it on to Will Costello or Rob Henderson or something when they were trying to talk about why is it that women do this or why is it that guys always do this for women. Women are wonderful. Here, this is why you're a white knight. White knighterry. If you want to know the root cause of white knighterry, just look no further than the Women Are Wonderful effect. Daily reminder that no man who wants kids has to trust a woman who refuses to relocate to one of 6 states that now have a 50-50 custody on paper. What would those be, sir? 50-50 custody? One of them's got to be Florida, right? Certainly Florida's on there. 50-50 custody. Okay, here's part of your prenup, honey. We're both going to quit our jobs and move to Kansas because there's what's in Kansas? A 50-50 custody law, just in case. Yeah. I wonder if you could actually, but we were supposed to have, once again, we were supposed to have Jim Sexton. He was supposed to be in Las Vegas, and I have not heard anything from him. I think he's flying out today. Today's the 5th. If I can get a hold of Jim, I will. I know he's been here since the 2nd. I think he was leaving the 5th. It could be the 7th he's leaving. But Jim Sexton's supposed to be in town. I haven't heard anything from him. But Jim, if you're watching, text me or whatever. If you want to come, I'll give you the address right now. You can sit in this. I got another seat right here for you. Hey, there we go. All right. 22 euros, which probably comes out to what? $23. Reading, Reignite. Love it. Your best so far. Thank you very. You know what? You get another one of those for that compliment, sir. Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much. I was reading about sedation. Okay. Which I go into. You've heard me talk about it on the show, probably other shows too. But I go into great detail on sedation. I get some ways to unwind are more productive than others. I guess. Okay. I get some ways more. Okay. But you can't be productive all live time, right? Oh yeah, live time. So you're referring to live time versus dead time. Okay. Where does painting miniatures fit in? Well, it all depends on how you rationalize that for yourself, quite honestly. That's a good question. If I were doing nothing, if I put it this way, if I were right now, and I'm guilty of doing this occasionally, right now I am finishing the text layout and the text flow and I have to do this myself. There ain't no AI bot that can fucking do this, right? It has to be from me because I know how I want my books to look, right? But I'm reflowing the text, the new revised typo-free version of the Rational Mail, the first book, right? I'm going to release it in a hardback, and then I'm going to re-release the softback as well. It's just be the same guts, right? But it's larger type, which everybody wanted. It's going to be a little substantially bigger book because I had to, expand the type and then have to increase the leading a little bit. But I'm turning it into the book I want it to be, and it's taking me a little while to do that. Now it's grind work. It's not me sitting there creating some new, hey, I'm going to talk about body count. It's not. It's graphic design. What I've done since I was in my early 20s, mid 20s, right? So let's, for sake of argument, if I go, okay, I need to get this fucking done, and I need to get it done before I go to Catalina, because I'm going to Catalina for my 30th anniversary with my wife. Thank you very much. And so I want to have it completely free. I want to be free and clear of it by July 20th, right? If I'm painting miniatures instead of flowing text, then yes, you might be able to say, okay, I'm sort of putting off what I need to do kind of what I want to do, right? And because what I want to do has more of an urgency, then yes, you could say that that's sedation. But really what sedation is it's the escapism. It's more like escapism. It's like I live in this world because my shitty real world, it sucks. I don't want to live in that. And so you tend to default, and I'm going to go a little bit atomic habits on you here, but you tend to default to the escape life, because the escape life is better than the real life, when in fact you could probably make your real life a whole lot better if you focused on that instead of the escape life. The escape life tends to be easier, right? Video games, pornography. I don't know. It's easy. Like those are two easy ones. It could be also your mindset. It could be religion. It could be a form of sedation for you. If it's something that is preventing you from living your real life and actually growing and increasing yourself as a real human being, right? In the real world. It could be emotionalism, right? It could be you're subscribing to certain ideas. It could be drugs. It could be prescription opioids. It could be you smoke too much fucking weed. You live in a state where marijuana is legal. I'm not saying, Kyle, I'm not saying you shouldn't smoke weed. You should partake in the devil's cabbage. But when you're doing it all the fucking when you smoke weed like Tiffany Fox, then it's a fucking sedation. Then it's you're putting off the real world to enter weed world. Welcome to weed world. Hey, welcome to weed world. I like it better here. You know what that is, right? Nobody uses a bong anymore, do they?
Not as often.
You smoke
honestly.
a bong with a bong?
Yeah, I've used bongs before.
Yeah. They vape it now. Everybody vapes.
Yeah, it's just.
I'm dating myself by like giving you like a Cheech and Chong fucking bong. I guess some people still smoke a bong. At the head shops, they still have bongs in the head shops, right? So I may still smoke weed. Yeah. But when that becomes your world, then it's a sedation. That's really the operative point of it. So where does miniature painting fit into that? Well, if all I was doing was that, then yeah, you could say that. Or for instance, like there was a time, so I can remember it was like in the late 2020s through 21, 22, 23, about that long. And the only thing I didn't even paint miniatures. I didn't have any hobbies because I was too busy going to Miami. I was too busy doing podcasts. I was too busy writing books. And that's all I fucking did. Right, is all I was doing. In fact, it's basically all I do now, right? But I also played in Trial of Ascension, and I made no money in Trial of Ascension. I just made really good music. Go check it out. It's on Spotify. Trial of Ascension. You can go and listen to Uncle Rolo play guitar. I thought it was some really good music, and I became a better musician as a result of it. Did I make one thin dime off of that? No. In fact, I spent money. I lose money on my bands, right? And I'm happy to do so. And why? Because it ain't the red pill. Because I don't have to think about you guys. I don't have to think about body count. I don't have to think about, cocky funny. It keeps me sane, right? And I think one of the best things about playing music is like it forces you to focus on one thing. Like if you want to get good at guitar, like your singular focus has to be practicing and learning licks and learning stuff. You have to like you can't multitask when you're doing shit like that. Like when I'm painting miniatures, I can watch a podcast, I can have music, I can listen to Audible, I can, other shit can go on and I can focus on what I'm doing. I can even have a conversation with people, right? While I'm doing what I'm doing, but you cannot do that when you're playing music. You're trying to learn something anyway. So I think people, if you really want to have, this is me, okay? I'm not going to tell you how to meditate. I'm going to, because I don't know. It seems like horseshit to me. But having something that like demands your singular focus, your cognitive, all your cognitive faculties have to focus on one thing. I think learning music, whether it's piano or guitar or whatever, that definitely qualifies. But I think if you can find something like that just where you have to block out everything, and you could do that for an hour. Can you do that for an hour? Most people can't sit alone and just stare at the fucking ceiling for an hour. They lose their fucking minds. Like when you, here's how I know. Because if you're in a line for anything, or you're waiting to get food, or you're waiting to whatever it is, what's the first thing you do?
Check your phone. Check the time.
And you look up. And you look up. Oh, it's dude, you want to know? This is my theory. I'm saying this. I don't have any stats to back this up. You want to know why Las Vegas has the highest traffic fatalities of any city? You know why? Because those goddamn lights are so fucking long, and they're all on timers. They're not like, oh, you roll over the relay thing. Yeah, there's no pressure. You wait. And if you don't, you know why people like whip through, because they don't want to wait for another 7 minutes to get the light to come back around. So what do you do when you are waiting for the light to change? You're like, oh, Instagram, she got some nice tits, until you hear, oh shit, and then somebody behind you say, hey, fucking move, asshat, and then you have to go through. That causes accidents, guaranteed. Las Vegas, we need relay plates. We need pressure plates. Okay, I got to you. Thank you very much. Oh, we got another one. Hey. Neighbor, wife, and I were chatting. All right. I told her I invited her husband to go shooting, but he said he had things she wanted done. She said kidnap him so he would stop being a beggar and social people pleaser. Perfect title. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if chicks don't want you to cheat. Like they want their man to cheat, so they have some reason to like either to
check out,
be hotter for him, or to get the bug out, right? Shit, I've had married women say, I wish he would cheat. Like, why? Because then I would have an out. Then I would be able to leave this man, because they don't want to be the bad guy. They don't want to be the one that actually initiates it, even though 70% of the time they are. Right? I'm noticing an increase in women wanting mixed multiracial children from women of all ethnic groups. Women wanting mixed from all. Okay. None seem to want to raise mono-ethnic families. I think that's true. I think it depends on the country that you're in, for sure.
I think it's very much country-wise.
I think it's country-based. The other thing is I think it also is culture too, because I know that if you are in if Islam is your religion, that is very insular, let's just say. I don't know. That could be the effect, I think, of every time you see a commercial, it's always this multiracial family, right? And whatever. I don't even look right now. I don't even, it's so normalized right now. I don't even really care one way or the other, whether it's a black one and a white guy or whatever it is. What I'm looking for is where's the husband, where's the father? Because it's usually like this white woman, and she's got two kind of mulatto babies or something like that, and it's she's carrying them around, and women have it tough these days, and Vagisil, I don't know, whatever the commercial is, and there's never a dude. Or financial planning is difficult. Well, not if you're married with a dude with you, like a 2-income family, but there's never a dude in those. Or where the dudes are? They're trying to figure out how to use a cleaning product somewhere, and then the wife comes in and goes, let me help you, dumbass. We've gone from you remember how
I know exactly what
what I'm talking about, right? I don't know. How do you bake cookies?
Some fucking retarded fucking father. Come on. What are we doing here?
Well, what's funny is I think we've gone from we've graduated somewhere along the line. I don't know when it happened, but we graduated from because nobody does sitcoms anymore, at least worth a shit anyways. But we graduated from Dr. Huxtable and Dummy Dad, like Homer Simpson. Homer Simpson is like more competent by comparison, I think, than a lot of shit today. But it's been forever. It's the archetype of the dumb, hapless, doofy dad who needs Marge to come and save him from himself, right? Well, we don't have those sitcoms anymore, but we most definitely have that same theme in a lot of commercials.
A lot of cartoons too.
Yeah, so they'll be happy to show some tough chick who's riding a motorcycle to financial freedom because you're looking at whatever app it is. It's the Mint app or some shit like that. Yay, go Black woman of the future. Awesome. Where's the dad? Where's the guy? Trying to figure out Mr. Clean. Darn it, I didn't do it right again. Mom, help. I think it's almost more pervasive if it's in a commercial because you're going to see it more often, right?
I think so. Yeah.
That's crazy. Red pill creators were ostracized. Then the academics came in to co-opt their info. Of course, the goal was to force out the pioneers until they're just a footnote. Yeah, well, I'll be the first one to push them back and poke them in the eye. Yeah, I see that. And I try to draw attention to that as much as I can. I'm glad you brought that up because that was actually kind of a side note I wanted to drop in about the Deborah So video that I showed with Bill Maher, which now I realize I'm probably going to get a copyright strike for because they're pretty militant at HBO. Is he still on HBO? Or is that his web thing? It might be his web brace thing.
Yeah, I think
Bill,
it's just
the Bill Maher show was HBO, but I think he's been off for a while and he's got his own like podcast kind of thing now. Yeah. Oh, it is. Okay. Oops.
Yeah.
Well, that looked like an interview kind of thing. I don't know if that was necessarily who knows, whatever. I'm going to have to deal with it anyways. I have to cut that whole fucking thing out now. Anyways, God, Bill Maher, stand up. Was he ever funny?
No, not to me.
Yeah, I don't think so. Oh, it was his podcast, independent podcast. Okay. So maybe I'm safe, right? Bill, please. Yeah, I think so. Let's see, what was this next one here? If it didn't come from a PhD, then apparently it doesn't count. I've coined a new term, academic washing. Yes. What's the end game? Trad Christianity? Yeah, probably. No, it's actually I've a good coining of a term, but it's actually what's called data laundering. And what happens is you'll see these people who do junk science. Will Costello. And what happens is then they take that and they rebroadcast it over and over and over again on A-list podcasters. Now, again, I'm not saying this was intentional because I don't know, but and Mike will give me grief for this, and so I'm just going to call it out anyways. But there was that one interview with Will Costello, and I forget the bald-headed UK guy who was just gobsmacked by the fact that there's only like 2 or 3 incel shooters in 10, 12, 15, 20 years, right? Even though the incel data was that he was a part of, the research anyways, was funded by anti-terrorist groups, by the government themselves, right? So here's what happened. So my question is this: why does that bald-headed guy think that in the first place? Well, because it's been data laundered. You know why he thought that in the first place is because originally when all this shit came out, he probably heard Chris Williamson say something about it, or he heard Steve Stewart Williams or somebody else. So what happens, you take bad data or maybe contravening data and you go and talk about it on Chris Williamson and you only get the 45-second buzz clip, then yes, that bald-headed dude whose name I don't remember was probably going to have that impression. Why do I think that? I don't know. No, you do know. It's called data laundering. You take bad data, you give it to a big name account, and they amplify it way beyond what you would be able to amplify it to. Hell, what I'd be able to amplify it to. And so then it becomes, as what's his name was saying, like the emotional reality. It feels like this is right. I brought this up. I'm going to bring it up right now. We had here recently, it was over the weekend, I think. We had a mass shooting thwarted by the finest of Las Vegas Metro police officers in Henderson. Well, I guess
it was down at Sunset Station.
Yeah, it was in Henderson.
The parking lot.
In Henderson. Okay. Yeah, and so I'm not. This is not here nor that. I'm saying they're bad or good. Okay, whatever. Trans activists, confirmed trans activist, militant trans activist, had an arsenal. And if you saw the pictures, I don't know if you saw the pictures of like what this kid had, what this she-male had at the time. By the way, you know, it's funny. There's actually body cam footage of the of this guy. They got into sort of like this standoff kind of situation in that parking lot.
Yeah.
And the kid wanted some water.
Yeah.
So the cop brings it up to him and he's reaching out to get the water. He pulls his ass right out the fucking window. I was like, that's some fucking ballsy shit, because I saw what was in the car and he had like submachine guns and shit in the car. There it is. Put that up there. You can put that on just so everybody knows I'm not full of shit.
Well, I could find an actual article.
Yeah, find the article out. But there it is. So they basically thwarted this guy who was, by all appearances, I mean, the guy literally had a 50 caliber machine gun. I'm not kidding. It's like a saw, right? Is that what they call it? Like it is. They had a 50 caliber machine gun in the arsenal. Maybe they'll show the pictures of the ordnance this guy had. It was just,
they won't have the picture.
Yeah, it won't have the picture of the ordinance. Yeah, there it is. You can sort of see it right there. That's what they pulled from this guy, right?
15 firearms, suppressors, large
suppressors. There's one. I know that there's like, everybody was like losing their shit. Like, even if you're like a gun guy, this is a lot of fucking guns.
Supposedly, when they raided the house of the person, they had like grenade launchers and all this other shit.
That's where they found the 50 cal. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what? Okay, I know it's Las Vegas. You can shoot you can go to one of the ranges here and you can actually rent an automatic gun. Actually, I was going to do that with Jake Monroe. So there's this arsenal here, this trans activist. And of course, everybody's throwing out, how come they don't follow up on this shit? What about Charlie Kirk? What was that? Wasn't that guy like trans? He had a trans girlfriend or something like that?
Trans girlfriend. I don't know.
We're almost a year. It's coming up in September. We're almost a year from Charlie's death. It was September 10th, right? Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're almost a year from Charlie's death. And has anybody heard, like, when did they arraign the guy? Was there an inquisition? Was there? Yeah, September 10th. I was right. So we're almost coming up on a year here. Yeah. Has the trans. So here's why am I talking about this? Well, again, it's the retarded kid. We keep pandering to this emotionalism. It's okay. You can be a girl. Johnny, it's okay. You won the fucking football game. It's all right. No, tell me or I'm going to shoot somebody. Right. But it's like, seriously, it was going to be another Las Vegas 2017, right? Yeah, it was going to be another shooting like that. Like, thank God they caught. And by the way, this is like 20 minutes. How close do you live to this place, man?
Sunset is
20 minutes
20
from my place.
15 minutes. Yeah.
20 minutes, right? So Will Costello, Rob Henderson, maybe the incels aren't the people that you should be doing research on. Maybe those incel guys, maybe those guys aren't exactly the people that need to have a survey done to find out whether they're liberal or Democrat or anything like that. Because if you're worried about who's going to be the next mass shooter, we got him right here in Henderson. You could go interview him right fucking now. I don't know. Maybe you get past the cops, right? But why are you not looking for forums for militant trans activists? Why is that not at the top of your fucking list? No, we're going to talk about the fucking manosphere. No, we're going to talk about we're worried about incels. Yeah, you know why? Because incels are the fucking boogeyman. And nobody gets paid if there is no boogeyman. And if we made trans activists the boogeyman, oh no, not in emotional world. Not in the emotion world. Can't do that. Can't we risk offending someone to actually think correctly. Where is you want to impress me? You want me to just like give you all your apologies and give you all your fucking flowers? Will, go and do the research for the trans activists. That would impress me. Go figure out why. What is it? Why is it that people who identify as like gender confused or whatever the fuck it is, that they are 6 to 10 times more likely to have some sort of diagnosis of autism? Look into those little facts, right? Check that out. Why are you not looking this up? Why is this not a priority? I don't see incels with 50 caliber fucking machine guns in their arsenals. I see trans people with it. I don't see incels with it. What do you got here? What are we looking up?
Just looking at the actual.
Few mass shooters have been transgender. Yeah, well, okay. But you know what? More than incels.
Yeah.
Or, okay, maybe that's not your cup of tea. Maybe that's a bridge too far for you. How about this? Why don't you go and do surveys and do a dig in and do a deep dive into why it is that, I don't know, female teachers between the ages of 23 and about 43, 45 have a thing for their young 15 some odd year old students. Why? Maybe look into that. Can we check that out? Because I don't know, by all appearances, it looks like you're barking up the wrong tree with this incel shit. It seems like you're barking up the wrong tree with the manosphere, barking up the wrong tree with the red pill, which of course you go and repeat over and over and over again. You're going to tell us, but we're wrong about X, Y, and Z. And then the next podcast, you're going to go, well, they're kind of right about the, or they're not right. Hey, I came up with this great idea. It's called the War Brides dynamic, or the Alpha Widow. I'm going to look into this thing. I had this new great idea. I heard this. I don't know where I got it from, but I came up with this Alpha Widow thing, and I'm going to see about that. Really? Motherfucker. Yeah. All right. So let's get down to it. Why did I, where are we at? Okay. We're at an hour and a half. So I named today's show The Truth About Chasing Women because we're going to be doing time to switch gears. We're going to be doing, Mike and I've been talking about this for the last, I don't know, 6 weeks, right? And why we needed this much lead time, I don't know. But on Wednesday, July 8th, Mike and I are going to do a debate, heated conversation, rage quit with Paul Elam and then some guy that hangs out with him. I don't know who the other guy is. They have made his name known to me. But I agreed to it because Mike really wants to do it. And Paul seems to think I'm hiding behind Mike. And I'm like, I don't give two fucking, I don't think about you at all. But I'm like, yeah. Mike hit me up and he was like, hey, do you want to do this with me? I'm like, yeah, I'll do it because of you, because you're my brother and I got your back and I'll be happy to, to do whatever you're going to do. So I'm going to do that. But I told him, I said, the only reason that Paul wants to do this is because he wants to come at me, not you. He didn't care about, I love you, but he doesn't care about, I don't think he cares about you quite as much as he does me. In the same, because there's no Roosh for him to fight anymore, right? There's no Royce and there's no Roosh. There's only the one last R in the manosphere, and that's me. So I'm quite honestly, I don't know what we're going to talk about. I don't have any topics. I don't have any whatever. But I do know one thing, I think. And I think it's this, is that it's, as I said before, I think it's going to be based on intent. And I have, I posted these, first of all, I got an essay that's called The Crisis of Motive. And you've heard me talk about this before. Like, why do we do what we do? Why do you go to the gym? Kyle, why do you go to the gym? Just say pussy. Just say pussy. Just tell me pussy. Pussy. Because that's all you would ever need to go. Why else would anybody go to the gym?
I do it for me.
I do it for me.
I do it for me.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. I wear this lingerie for me. There's your clip. You mean if I came over to your house at 4:00 in the afternoon and you're vacuuming, you'd be in you'd be in that Honey Burdette G-string? Well, no, I'd be in my sweatpants and t-shirt. Why? Well, it's for me. That's bullshit. But it can be both. There's nothing wrong with that. But so I got into this. That's sort of the pre-qualifier here. I got into this conversation with I forget the chick's name. I'll bring up the Twitter thread here in just a second. But the idea was that a real man, registered trademark, a real man will pursue a woman, or I know what it was. Let me see if I can pull this up here real quick. It was, where did it go? Oh, her name was Attraction Matriarch. I think I've used her before. I'll read it. I don't need to post this up here. She says this is a very brief tweet. It says, why does a man who once pursued, there's operative word number one. Why does a man who once pursued relentlessly slowly become the same man who forgets birthdays, stops initiating romance, loses his direction, quits planning, quits growing, and quietly parks himself in neutral? So essentially, the way I read this, and this is probably, I realize this is bait. And I took the bait. Okay. And then, so my response to this was, well, he realizes the kind of guy who relentlessly pursues is usually her plan B guy, which is true. The guy who is like constantly there all the time, you know, like I'm reading pursue as like orbiting, like being an orbiter of some sorts, right? Well, that got into a much larger conversation, which I will actually show you the thread here for this in a moment. But what's the difference between chasing or pursuing? We've heard Rich Cooper say this so many times I can't even remember when he started. Chase excellence, my friend. Don't chase women. Or what was that one meme? It's like acquire resource or acquire currency, ignore women. And it's like, I don't know, it's like some, I don't know, John Adams or some guy from the American turn of the century. I don't know. But yeah, so it's whenever I hear chase, when I hear the word chase, it makes me think, don't chase women. What am I, 10 years old on a fucking playground, like grabbing her pigtails or chasing women? That's the mental impression I get. And I think a lot of guys sort of get the same thing when you use a term like chase. And so I'm like, okay, well, what's the difference between chasing a woman and pursuing a woman or being persistent? Should you be persistent? Should a guy, a real man, should an alpha male, right? An alpha male knows what he wants and he goes after it. Well, if that's the case, then like, would you consider Jordan Peterson an alpha in that respect? Because Jordan Peterson, and his words, not mine, once said that when he met Tammy, he was like 7, and I think she was like 10 or 12 or something, because I know she's a little bit older than he is. And he told his dad at that point, that's a woman I'm going to marry someday, right? And I guess, you know, it's supposed to be this really heartwarming, you know, cuddly story. Turns out that from the interviews with Tammy and Michaela, that the only reason why Tammy actually accepted his third proposal for marriage, because he would write her notes or, you know, written letters and stuff like that. Hey, you know, we're going to get married, blah, blah, blah. Was because she had just ended a 2-year live-in relationship with the guy who was her college boyfriend. And it was, I mean, from the rational male perspective, from the red pill perspective, it's just right on time, right? She's 28, 29, 30 some odd years old, or however old she was. She's out of options. Hey, what's that guy? What's that kid again? Jordan? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll hook up with this guy. Yeah. Right there. There you go. Competition anxiety. That's when the epiphany phase starts kicking in. That's when the perspective of the long-term security perspectives outweigh the short-term sexual breeding prospects, right? And so what kills me is like, you'll hear, I love it when I listen to like Jordan Peterson saying, men and women shouldn't live together. You should just get married and, you know, start a family because you'll have a healthier family as a result. I'm like, dude, Tammy has said she was living with a dude for 2 years before she decided that she was going to, okay, I guess I'll marry you. You wore her down. Is that persistence? Is that like, I want to throw this out there because I think a lot of guys mistake this. Like there's a very, very fine line between being persistent and being a simp.
Well, I'd also say being the second option.
Or being the plan B.
Because that's realistically what it looks like. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the timeline of whatever it was,
well, that's,
right?
Yeah. I had this back and forth here. And where did it go? What is that? Somebody said, okay, so these are some of the responses to what I had said. He says, and modern women tend to demand different levels of effort based on if he's a top 20% or he's not a person, the 80%, right? They don't ask Chad to do a damn thing. He's the 4.5%er, right? Giving him the milk, the cow. Thanks. But Jim or Joe must have moved mountains first, okay, and must still be relegated to as settling for her. Yes, okay. Oh, and this guy just simply says, "Shut up, bitch." Okay. What is it? How you pursue each other? How you pursue each other, or shut the fuck up? What? I don't know what the fuck that meant. Anyways, oh, this is what she said. She says, men tend to confuse pursuit with pleading. By pleading, I would presume it's like you're a sex pest. It's the destiny model of getting laid, right? You become a sex pest. You become this orbiter who's a liability rather than, or more of a liability than he is an asset. Women will keep beta orbiters going indefinitely as long as you provide some sort of material benefit for that orbitation, whatever the fuck it is, right? But once you've exceeded that, once you become annoying, you're an annoying beta orbiter. Yeah, that's when it becomes something else. That's when it becomes pleading, right? So let's see. I can confirm I was that guy. Never fucking works. Women literally bend over backwards and do whatever I want when I treat them like shit. The same women leave me or treat me like shit when I treat them well with respect and be nice to them. Okay. That's sort of a different way of saying if you treat her like a celebrity, she will treat you like a fan. So at what point do you, I think the idea of being persistent or being pursuing a woman, right? I think at some point there, you reach the point of diminishing returns, right? You're going to get to a point where it's like, why am I even doing this? But then there's the guys who make it a moral imperative, right? Then there's the Ben Shapiros of the world, and I'm going to show you the Ben Shapiro thing. What were you going to say?
I was just saying they just start white knighting, right?
That's when they start white knighting, and that's when you get whatever the fuck this is. Let me see. I know I have this one on tap. I actually use this as part of sort of my part of my reasoning with this in this whole thread here. There it is. Shapiro's marriage. I hung on to this because I think this is probably the most perfect illustration of what I'm trying to talk about here.
For 2.5 months before we got engaged. That was pretty funny, actually. Like maybe 2 months in. Actually, so our first date was September 5th, and we got engaged December 22nd.
Was she at all surprised?
You notice he knows the exact dates. I could not. I could tell you the day I proposed to my wife because it was on Valentine's Day. Easy to remember, right? I couldn't tell you the day that I met her, though. I wouldn't be able to give you an exact date. It was sometime in October of 1995, but I couldn't give you an exact date.
Well, what was really funny is that about mid-November, November 15th, I remember all the dates. November 15th, it was the first time I said I love you to my wife, and she said thank you. And that lasted for about a month. That was a very awkward month. It was like I'd finish every phone call, I'd be like, love you, sweetheart, thanks, bye. So that was real awkward. But the reason she was doing that, and it made sense, is because of what happened next, right? December 15th. The
reason she was doing that is because she was testing her, seeing if there was anything better. That's why she was doing that. That's why you don't, I love you. I'm fond of you too. Guys, if you never want to say I love you to a chick, I just say, hey, I'm fond of you too. I know it's evil. I'm sorry.
Says to me, I love you too. And she knew what was going to happen. She said then the next words out of my mouth were, okay, let's get married. Like, we're done. Okay, I love you. You love me. We're done. Let's get married. Let's have kids. Let's have a life together. And she goes, let's just enjoy this time. So I'm not enjoying this time. This is miserable for me. Like,
she didn't even want to go straight from I love you to I do. Mm-hmm. She didn't even want to do that. Like, it's funny to me because like he's very like, and most white knights do I've seen Jordan Peterson have the same kind of tone, same kind of like, they look back with, I remember that time when we did the, like nostalgia, right? That's the word I'm looking for. This nostalgia. And his wife was probably, if his wife was there listening to this, she'd be kind of, yeah, I did, because when that chick says, can we just, have a good time? Can we, I don't know if I'm ready quite for that level of commitment just yet, blah, blah, blah. You're not the back of my head, somewhere in my lizard brain, somewhere in my hypothalamus, whatever the fuck it is, somewhere, my corpus callosum, somewhere in there is telling me maybe there's somebody else I could do that's better than this guy. Maybe, maybe John is going to come around. Maybe Chad is going to call. Maybe that hot Brazilian helicopter pilot that I used to know back in the day is going to just hit me up on Instagram at some point, right? The hope against hope.
What are you talking about? If you're a religious person dating for marriage, the worst thing is the dating. The dating and the engagement sucks. Like if you're
because the only way you get to fuck is if you have the ring on. That's why.
Sucks because it's.
Can we just cut the shit? Can we just remember when I was saying I don't have to worry about saying, can we just cut the shit? This is me doing this once again. It's can we just fucking cut this
religious
shit?
Person, then you get to get married, you get to sleep with the person, you get to live with the person, build a life with.
Yeah, you get to sleep with the person, and then you get to wait, stop, go back a little bit. Oh, sleep with the person.
That. All the rest of this is just delay. So she's like, why don't we enjoy this? I'm like, you don't understand. I'm not enjoying this at all. This sucks. I want to lock this down. We'll be done. It'll be great. This will be over. This period of our life. She was like, well,
You notice that? So here's the thing. When men, especially cut from the same cloth as Ben Shapiro, let's just say, are in that state, you notice that he's uncomfortable in that state. He doesn't want to be in the limbo of, I love you. And by the way, men are statistically, I want to say 90%, 80-90% more often will say, I love you first than the woman will. Wow, what? Something the manosphere is right again. I can't believe. Maybe we need Dr. Deborah So to chime in on this. Right. So here's a perfect example of that. But once again, it's that because you can't get laid. You can't fuck. That's why. Why is it's really uncomfortable? Yeah, because you got blue balls. Because, moralistically wise, you can't fuck that chick until you say I do, or you jump the broom, or you break the glass, or I don't know how the Jews do it. What is it, Fiddler on the Roof? I don't know how you do it, but however you guys are going to do it, that's how you're going to do it. But you want to move past that. Why is it uncomfortable? Because you want to get laid. Can we please just say, I want to get fucked up?
Let's just think about it. A week later, we got engaged.
Okay, a week later, they got engaged. So the reason I'm using that once again is because I see that as a perfect example of what's the difference between chasing, pursuit, being persistent. A lot of people, they took me to task on that. They said, hell, I'll just read you some of these things. Because I use this as that video actually as one of my sort of comebacks to this shit. And I said, there's a difference between because I understand guys wanting to initiate. I'm not saying guys shouldn't initiate. I'm not saying guys shouldn't be the ones who put themselves out there. You have to be able to open a woman. You have to be able to have a good conversation. Fuck, you saw me right here with fucking Mystery of all people talking about exactly this thing. Obviously, I'm not saying just sit back in the back of the club and wait till the hot girl comes up to you. That's not what I'm saying. So what's the difference? What's the fine line? Where's the how do we cross that fence, right? Between being a simp, being an orbiter, being a pussy beggar. I'm gonna hear that one on Wednesday for sure. You asked a girl for a date, pussy beggar. How do you win? Does she have to come up to you? Is it Sadie Hawkins world? You know, Sadie Hawkins dance where the girls have to ask the guys out. Is that where we're at right now? Well, she's just going to ask the best one. Well, sounds like hypergamy to me. No, she's not, because women want men to initiate. I get that. But what's the difference between chasing and pursuing? Here's the difference. Either you're in the 4.5% or you're in the 20%. That's the difference, right? It's qualifying versus, he's women want to be pursued. They do, by the hot guy in the foam cannon party. They want to be pursued by hot guys. They want to be pursued by alpha males. They want to be pursued by high value men. However you want to, I don't care what your euphemism. Insert the euphemism that you're comfortable using. Okay. The guy that they want to fuck. Guys who they want the guy who fucks to be the guy that pursues. Oh, it's so nice that he likes to he must love me. I must have some quality because he's actually pursuing me. Well, I'll tell you what disqualifies that. When you're saying, I love you, thanks. I love you, thanks. Wow. Like, at what point do you go, if you're Ben Shapiro, and again, I'm just using as an illustration, I'm sure you could probably come up with other ones. At what point do you go, she keeps saying thanks every time I say I love you? Do I stick with it? Do I keep pursuing? Is that chasing? When I'm going, hey, I love you, thanks. Fuck, man. If my wife said thank, I've been married, I'm coming up on 30 years of marriage. My wife said thanks. If I said, like, when I say I love you, or she says I love you to me, like we're simpatico, you know, we love each other, we want to fuck each other, we have mutual, genuine desire for each other. Awesome. But when you're in that situation, are you then an orbiter? Because it seems to me like she was just keeping him around as an option. Thanks. He'll tell you the dates too. I don't want to be in this. I don't want to be in this state. In fact, he even gives her technically, he gives her an ultimatum. Well, I think we really should move forward with this because my dick is getting hard. I need to get laid. And the only way I can do that is if you'll jump the broom with me and crush the glass. I don't know.
No, he crushed it.
Yeah. Crush the glass. Is that what it is when you get married when you're Jewish?
Hey, mazel tov.
Mazel tov. Hey, mazel tov. Please do. That's awesome. Okay. But of course, you know what's funny is like when I use that video, they go, well, yeah, he's a Jew. Block. Yeah. Or they want to use, or they'll say, oh, that sounds like the beginning of a loving relationship. I've been married for coming up on July 30th, or excuse me, on July 20th, I'll be married for 30 years. I can tell you right now, that is not the way my relationship started. That is the polar opposite of how my relationship started. Shit, I was spinning plates when I was with my wife. I think I've said this. I don't know if I brought this up before. She was dating my wife, the girl that would be my wife, she dated radiologists. She dated doctors. She was, like I said, she was a medical professional, but I beat all those guys. Of course, now I make more money than those guys. But the thing is like, yeah, what gets me is like, I love it when people go, well, this is how a good relationship should start out. I'm like, well, I met my wife in a club after I played a gig, after watching a friend's band play a gig. And she wasn't even the first one that they brought to me. Like I was waiting in line because I was still drinking then. I was waiting in line to get a beer. And this one chick comes up. She ended up being one of my wife's best friends at the time. She was on a girls' night out. Yep. Remember how I always talk about the guy in the foam cannon party?
For a little bit.
Well, that's a self-reference. But so anyways, her best friend brought this fat chick up to me. I was in the line. She said, I have a friend that wants to meet you. And I thought she meant the hot blonde that was back because my wife has really super long blonde hair. And I'm like, no, not that one. Not that one, not the fat one. And I'm like, yeah, you're cool, whatever. And then she introduced me to my wife, or my girlfriend, who would be my wife. And then they had to go, and then I went to the club that they moved venues. Basically, the show that I was at was over, and they went to another venue, and so I went down there, and I did a little reconnaissance at that time. And I had a friend who was working at the same club that they were going to, and I said, "Hey, do you know that chick?" He goes, "Yeah, I know her," because his wife actually worked at the same hospital. And so we started talking about it. And so I'm like, fuck, I got nothing to lose. I just went in and I just asked her out and stuff like that. And my wife actually said, I don't usually go out with guys like you. Yeah, but here's my number anyway. Yeah, you mean broke guys? Yeah, broke guys. Yeah, right. But that was it, man. And I was seeing other people at that time. I think she might have been seeing other people. She was definitely seeing other people at that time. And then we started seeing each other, and she was the hottest piece of ass I was with at that time. And then at one point we were together. Of course, we had sex before that. We had fornicated before then.
Haram.
Yes. Haram. Haram. We had fornicated. I'm sorry. Bless me, Father, for I've sinned. And I'm going to do it again. But yeah, and then there was one because she knew I was seeing other people too, and then one time it was right after we had sex. She says, "I don't like the idea of you like fucking other girls." I go, and she's like, "I want to be exclusive with you." Like she was asking me to be her boyfriend, right? I'm like, she was the hottest girl with at the time, so I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." That's 27-year-old Rolo at that time, right? And the rest is history. So now you know my sordid past, right? And then she was number 41. Yeah, but but does that account as like pursuit? I remember I thought I fucked up, man. Like we were dating like adults. Like I was seeing other people, she was seeing other people at the same time. She was just one other girl in my roster, and I was one of like I think 2 or 3 other guys she was seeing, right?
Well, she made the decision to go up to you, right? So
yeah,
and ask.
Yeah. Well, we were with we'd been more or less getting together like more regularly anyways. And then, then like I said, the rest is history. But like the thing is like, would that count as chasing? I don't think so.
No.
Because we were like, I remember the first time I had a date with her and then I didn't hear from her. I'm like, oh fuck, I fucked up. Right. No. She has a fucking job. She has other shit. She had a dog too. She had all this. She has other responsibilities. She has friends and stuff too, right? And I'm like, oh fuck, I blew that one. And she calls me up on a Friday. Hey, you want to go out for drinks tonight? I'm like, fuck yes, I do. And that was it, right? So what? See, this is the thing that kills me is like when I listen to this shit, it's just like people will either get really pissed off that you aren't intentional. I'm dating with intent. Yeah, I'm intending to fuck you. That's my intent, right? If it goes beyond that, awesome. But that's my proximate outcome, my proximate goal, right? It's to tap that ass. My ultimate goal might be to actually marry you, have a kid with you, start a family with you that's going to last 30 fucking years. That might be my ultimate outcome of all of this. But you know what? That wasn't even a fucking thought in my mind when I met my wife. Hey, we need to really consolidate on this and get everything. Like, who the fuck does that? Who? Oh, we met in church camp. I think there's probably very few people who met like at 9. It's funny. It's like they're 19 years old. Like she's 19 and he's 19, and they both really want to fuck each other really, really bad. They're trying to find ways so they can fuck each other. Then they get married and they try to find ways not to fuck each other. Unbelievable. So anyways, I went and brought this up here because I wanted to sort of define what exactly qualifies as chasing, what qualifies as pursuit, what qualifies as just intent. Is that okay? Is it okay if a guy goes and like chats up a chick? Is that all right? Or am I being a simp? Or am I being a pussy beggar? Right? Yes, I want to fuck. Okay, what do I gotta do? A plus B equals C, right? Men are deductive problem solvers. So we will try to figure out, I mean, why does the red pill exist? Why does manosphere exist? Why, hell, even evolutionary psychology, there's so many other little, subfields. Well, one of the things that kind of blows me away about evolutionary psychology is we only focus on fucking. There's so much more to Evo Psych than just sex differences and sex. That's just what we focus on. Gad Saad has done a lot of, his first book was about was the consuming mind. It was like consumerism as a result of evolutionary psychology. It was about why people buy things or why people eat things or why people whatever. Why do we overeat? That's that has nothing to do with sex per se, but it's part of evolutionary psychology. Nobody questions that. Well, yeah, it's because we're hungry, and why do remember when the paleo diet was a big deal?
Yeah.
My very religious sister-in-law, she was like, "Hey, I'm doing the paleo diet. It's the caveman diet." I'm like, you realize you're the Paleolithic era came. You realize the caveman diet would predate Adam and Eve, right? Oh, okay. I thought that was funny. So you're admitting that there's actually there were cavemen.
So evolution.
But the reason why she was into it is because it seems like logic. Well, this is the way that human beings used to eat before we had processed food and before we had we had to run down small game, right? Or we had to, whatever it was, we had to be hunters and gatherers. And this is what theoretically, this is what our digestion was evolved for. Evolved? And so when you're looking at like those aspects of like evolutionary psychology, the diet is part of evolutionary psychology or evolution, well, biology too, I suppose. But, she got a lot of play out of this. It was like 11,000. Who am I after here? Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is my reaction to this. And I said, well, women innately understand that high value men don't need to pursue women. Was my point. Okay. They have high value men, alpha males, have options. Okay. Low value men pursue because they have few, if any, options. They have no other choice but to pursue. If you look at Ben Shapiro, I said there's a difference between showing intent and whatever the fuck this is, right? Whatever the fuck he's doing, right? And I said the act of pursuit is the behavior of a beta mindset, right? Pursuit. Chasing. I have no other options, and this one seemed like it was a good lead, so I'm just going to, it's like you're a good funnel marketer. I got a good lead here. I'm going to keep following up with these emails and see how long it takes before this bitch responds to me. Is that chasing? What is the difference? I don't know. People need to tell me this. I'm happy to entertain anybody in the chat who wants to tell me what they think. If they think that what the difference is between chasing, pursuit, simping, and putting yourself out there. You still have to put yourself out there as a dude, right? Now, does a guy who's a high value guy have an easier time at that? Maybe he won the genetic lottery, right? I know guys who are just very good looking guys. And like, what was it? Mike O'Hearn. I don't know. Did I fuck you last week? And all I do is smile at them and they love me, right? They don't know why. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So, but for the vast majority of guys who are, well, certainly the 80%ers are invisible. How do they become visible without being annoying? Well, they got to find some way to build up their game. They got to be something more than what they are. Right? I got into it again, and this is sort of another tweet that I got into. Was John, who I like, by the way. John from It's Complicated. John is very wrapped up in Paul Elam's bullshit right now, and so I kind of feel bad about it because it's essentially opinions and understandings of what the red pill is, what pickup artist is, what game is, what all this other stuff that's just based on just this morass of just misinformation, right? And so it's like, don't you red pill guys say X, Y, and Z? I'm like, well, which red pill guy are you talking about? Don't you think that, don't you guys always say that, that you have to be something more than you are? Don't you guys always say that you have to like build yourself up and be a better dude or make more money and build your muscles up or whatever so that women will want to, hang out with you, right? And that's just, again, that's the dancing monkey fallacy one more time. Like if you're going to play the game, if you're going to if you say, hey, you know what? I want to get laid. I want with a real woman, not a fucking robot. Not a haptic suit, not my fucking hand, right? I want to get laid. How do I go about doing that? Well, you can either buy it online or you can go out there and make something better of yourself. Now, isn't that just pandering and doing what she wants you to do? Aren't you then a dancing monkey? Well, then where do you draw the line? Why did you learn guitar? Well, I really like music, but well, it happens to also be because chicks like dig guys that play guitar. Why did you become an athlete? Why did you become? Well, I love basketball. Okay, that might actually be true, but you know what? You get laid more because of it. Why did you become a bodybuilder? Oh, do it for me. Okay, but you also get laid as a result of it. Like, why does it have to be one or the fucking other? And I'll tell you the dividing line is do you do it for the chick only? And I'm not saying that that's not even a bad idea. Sometimes that might be okay. I want to get in better. So like a lot of the guys that I work with in Reignite, and I know Mike's MOA guys will say the same thing. They want to do better. You will only get what you've gotten if you keep doing what you've done. You know what that means you have to do? Something different. Now you're just doing it because you're a pussy beggar. Well, then what would not make me a pussy beggar? Not waiting until the chick came up to me and said, "Hey, I really want to Sadie Hawkins dance. You know, will you go out with me?" I love again, it's the Rich Cooper effect, right? It's chase excellence, don't chase women, because it sounds like you're trying to grab Susie's pigtails on the playground, right? Well, okay, what's excellence? Okay, well, you make money muscles and game, right? Okay, well, so excellence in all those fields, right? Great. Guess what the overall effect of like maximizing those things and becoming the best version of yourself is? More pussy. Did you do it for the pussy or did you do it for yourself? It's really here. It's really up here. Right? And again, what is so fucking wrong with that? What is so fucking wrong with wanting to get, like, you do yourself no favors, I think, as a guy by desexualizing yourself. In fact, if anything, that's like, God forbid a woman actually think you might want to fuck her. Oh, you're at this club too? Fancy meeting you here. I'm just here for, I don't know, the book group we're going to read. But this is a Vegas nightclub. I don't know. Like, you're there because it's a sexual zone. You're there because you want to get laid. And again, people have been doing this for forever. But at what point does it become chasing? At what point does it become pursuit? At what point does it become whatever? And as I was saying before, women break rules for alphas and they make rules for betas. Part of those rules that women make for betas is wait. It's, you know what those rules are? Thank you. That's what it is. When you're Ben Shapiro and you say, "I love you," and she goes, "Thanks." That's the hoop you jump through. I don't believe your quality. Prove your quality to me. It's not open. It's not overt. It's not in your face. It's prove your quality to me. That's what it comes down to. Are you gonna qualify to me, right? Rather than the other way around. And that's why I said there are behaviors that guys who fuck naturally manifest. Again, you guys you're gonna call me gay, so what the hell, you know?
Oh, those guys are back.
I'm going to invoke the name of Justin Waller. As you know, I showed you the picture on here many times where the guy just sits there and chicks will open him. He's not me. I'm no slouch, but he's just like, he won the genetic lottery. He's got the money. He's got the charm. He's got the personality, whatever the fuck it is, right? He just naturally, magnetically draws women to him. Okay. But he manifests behavior that a guy who does get laid often would exhibit, and women understand. Oh, he's the kind of guy, he's that good looking, he's that rich, has that kind of status, he has that much prestige, he has that much, I don't know, gravitas, that he can't just be interested in me. He's got to have other chicks. He's got a guy like that, who acts like that, who talks like that, who walks like that, who has manifests these particular behaviors. That's a guy who has other options. He's got other women that want to get with him. Why? Because if I can see that he's like, as a woman, if she can see how good looking and how high value he is, rest assured, all of your sisters also see the same fucking thing. So there is those behaviors that are manifested by a guy who is rewarded with sex often enough that that's just how he is, right? Those behaviors are naturally exhibited. Then there are guys like Ben Shapiro who exhibit behaviors of pursuing, of chasing, because that's the only option I have, and I got to run it down, because if I don't, I will not reproduce. Those are the behaviors of a guy who is necessitous. Those are the behaviors of a guy who doesn't fuck, a guy who doesn't get laid. And so how does he manifest that? I love you. Please love me back. Thanks. Hey, now that you finally said I love you too. Hey, now that can we move on to the marriage thing? It's like, I've said this on a couple of occasions. This was it's actually a Vox Day sociosexual hierarchy designation, right? Now, everybody knows what an alpha is. Maybe you don't know what a beta is. I've talked about delta males for a while. Then there's the gamma, and then there's the omega, right? The omega is the guy who's the guy in the basement on Office Space?
Milton.
Milton is the omega, okay? That's just, we'll put Milton back in the basement. Then there's the gamma. The gamma is the list maker. The gamma is the guy that everything has to be perfectly rational. The gammas tend to appeal to women's sense of reason or rationality because they believe in the lie that women are just the same thing as they believe in the blank slate, but they don't believe in it in the same way that feminists do. Right? Feminists think that, well, if I'm a woman and I'm emotional and therapy works for me and men need to get in touch with their feminine side, and if it works for a woman, it should work for a man. Well, the gammas are the other side. I'm a man. Women are the same as men, so therefore they are equally rational, and they can put their emotions to the side and make rational, reasonable, logical decisions. And look here, I made this Excel spreadsheet as to why I'm the most perfect boyfriend that you should have. And I love you goes to I love you to let's get married to let's have baby 2.5 kids, da, 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 da. And it's this laundry list or this Excel spreadsheet of reasons as to why this, and again, no guy has ever reasoned a woman into bed. No guy has ever virtued a woman into bed. No man on planet Earth has ever had an Excel spreadsheet. She goes, you know what? The bottom line here is, says, I don't see why I shouldn't be fucking you. Look, the numbers add up. We're in the black. Take your clothes off. Time to fuck. That's the gamma male. The gamma male is the guy that makes the list. So the gamma male is the overanalyzer. And that's precisely what a lot of these guys do. And so when you've got guys who don't fuck and they overanalyze stuff and they don't really understand women's nature, or they don't, it's just maybe they do understand women's nature, but they don't want to accept it. They want to still believe in the idea because they still believe in the idea of the blank slate, only from the male's perspective and not the female perspective. The female perspective is the blank slate is, I'm emotional, therefore men are just as emotional as me. And so therefore all we got to do is just take away all this social conditioning that makes them not emotional. And then they'll be more perfect people. They'll be a more perfect mate for me. Men, on the other hand, the gamma males are like, well, okay, blank slate says that men and women are exactly the same. And so therefore, if we could just eliminate that emotional stuff that women, the drama and everything that they're all about, because underneath there's really, this rational side to them. We just bring them over to the rational side of things. They'll finally make the right decision, and they'll see that I'm the perfect boyfriend because I made the spreadsheet, and now we can finally move past all of this and move into the marriage side of things, so the sex can start happening. And usually that's because beta males, gamma males, whatever you want to call them, they're guys who don't fuck are very uncomfortable with the seduction stage because they believe the bullshit lie that comfort is what leads them to sex. So we need to get past the sexual tension part. We need to get past, because they're not really good at that anyways. So if we can just push past that and just get to like, oh, you're comfortable with me? Yeah, finally. Okay, let's fuck. Oh, okay. Yeah. Like a fucking stuffed animal. Like a big teddy bear that suddenly grew a dick. Like that's sex with the gamma male. That's sex with the guy who follows the same, life plan as like Ben Shapiro. Right? It's not hot monkey sex. That's why she's saying thank you, because she's waiting for the guy. Is this guy going to come around? Is this other guy going to come around? Like if one of the most controversial iron rules of Tomasi is number 3, right? Anytime a woman makes you wait for sex, or by her actions, by her words, says that she's making you wait for sex, the sex is never worth the wait, because there's something that is mitigating it. That rule is not about fucking random hoes that want to get with you on like a same night lay. What that's about is genuine desire. I was talking to Sterling Cooper one time, and Sterling says, I think that the highest form of praise, or the highest form of a woman actually getting what a guy's about, is that she sees you as so high a value guy that she will break the rules for you and she will fuck you as soon as possible. If it's not a same night lay, then it's like the second night lay, right? She sees your value so much so that she is willing to just say, you know what? I gotta fuck this guy now. He sees that and I kind of agree with him. It's like, that's a compliment. Well, she's loose, man. She's a high body count. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, fine. But she sees a high value dude if she wants to fuck that guy like me, especially if she's a guy. I don't usually do this. If it's not that girl, right? It's a compliment. And it's the same thing. Like, again, we're getting like overboard with all of this. Like, everything has to be perfect. One of the reasons why Deborah So was when she was talking to Bill Maher about how these guys, they want whores and they want girls, they want to have a harem and they want big, jet screaming hootie queens and they want like girls with tits out here, like the bikini contest girls, like in Las Vegas, right? That's what they want. But then they want to tell you that they want a girl with a low body count, even though they're fucking all these girls, right? And they want a pure woman, the Madonna whore complex, right?
So I can't have twins.
No, you can't. No. Doesn't work that way. I don't know, like fraternal twins. But see, they want to build up that dichotomy. They want to say, oh, these guys are just these walking contradictions. No, we're not, actually. I think that there are some guys who take it. The guys in the manosphere who don't fuck. Yeah, those guys do. They're these asocial schizoid dudes who want some, Amish girl from the Dutch country in Pennsylvania. They're the first ones to tell me that if I post a picture of one of the girls that is at the bikini contest or one of our the girl that I like, quite a few of them on Access Vegas, if I post even one picture or they God forbid they find me on Instagram, right? They go, these girls are all whores. Okay, well, show me a girl who's not a whore. Okay. Those girls are plastic. They're not real. They look at their lips. They have injections. Look at their tits. Their tits are fake. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Sure, you're entitled to your opinion. Okay. Show me a girl that you think is natural and is attractive. I never get that. They never a response. Or it's some girl in a sundress, so with a big sun hat, and she just got done in the garden, churning butter or milking a cow or some shit like that, right? It's this ridiculous romanticism that just simply does not exist anymore. Does that mean you should just go and say, fuck it, I'm going to fuck whores? No. But like, understand that the extremism that you're used to doesn't exist in the fucking real world. Okay. So yes, girls have tattoos. Yes, the girl that you might think that's really, really great, she might have a body count of 4 or 5. Is that okay? Is that acceptable? Or does she have to be a virgin bride? I guess Ben Shapiro would have done it right if that's the case, right? Because then he's persistent and he's hanging out. I finally wore her down. She finally said yes. Do you want to be in a fucking marriage that starts that way? That's what I want to know. I don't know how long Shapiro's been married. But, and again, I'm just using him as an example because he's obvious and easy to pick on. But if that was the way your relationship started, if your relationship started with thanks, I had to wear her down. Same thing. Grant Cardone has a very similar story with his wife too. I think it's him or Brad Lee, maybe both of them. They have these, well, she didn't really like me at first. Yeah, until you made a shit ton of money. Oh, and then I suddenly came around. Oh, well, yes. It was thanks until, oh, you're Grant Cardone, 10 times your pussy, right? Then suddenly everything, then I did it the right way. Remember, what was it? Steven Crowder. One of the things, Steven, you want to know why I won't ever go on Steven Crowder? Because I'll remind him of the article he wrote about how perfect his marriage was because he did everything right with Hillary. You can still find it. It's still on Fox News right now. I think it was like the week after they got married or they were done with their honeymoon or some shit like that. He wrote this like very, very self-satisfied, just self-righteous story or article or something on Fox News about how you could still do things the right way. I met Mike. We were both virgins when we met each other. And I wonder if Steven Crowder's like fucked up. I can't imagine he hasn't. I wonder if he fucked other girls since the divorce. I wonder about like what his sex life must be post Hillary. Has it Steve, I want to know, like, spill it, man. Is it better? So here's the thing is like, you get these guys who are very, very self-righteous, very full of themselves. So every now and then a guy like a Steven Crowder wins the lottery. He gets the chick, right? And we did it the right way. And don't say Mark Driscoll, because Mark Driscoll's wife actually fucked some other guy before him. I thought that was funny because he was so full of himself for a while, and then he discovered that his wife actually fucked some other dude before him. And it lost, here's the thing, that's a big deal. If you're one of those guys, if you're a guy that doesn't fuck, it's a big deal. Tattoos are a big deal. Body count is a big deal. But if you're a guy that is used to having the attentions of beautiful women all the time, if it's a lot, maybe, but how much is a lot? It's like, what is the reward? What is the attention that's coming back, and what is the manifestation? Where's the behavior that is manifested as a result of that? So are you chasing? Are you pursuing? Is the pursuit just, I got to wear her down. This is what women really want. They want a guy who's going to prove I got to prove my quality to my lady. There's that. And then I pursued my wife in so far as I asked her out on dates, and we kept coming back to each other. I can remember chicks, Jesus Christ. I mean, in my fucking rock star 20s, man, where I didn't have to do anything. All I was doing was just playing in a band. And friends of, it's funny. It's like Mike Sartain is right about one thing. It's like, if you're in a band, right? And the drummer has a hot girlfriend who's a swimsuit model, odds are her hot friends who are also swimsuit models might come to your show and might want to fuck you after that show. I can either confirm or deny that rumor. So again, I was one of the early pioneers of social circle game, if you think about it. So but there was no pursuit involved. There was no, I really like that girl. I got to show her that I'm an alpha, because an alpha would show his intent. And so how far do you go? When does the pursuit, when does the chase, when does pursuit become chasing? And when does chasing become simping? And it's almost like there's this these levels that you have to go through. Here's I kind of want to go out with this chick. And then I'm going to really want to, she said no last time, but I'm going to try to get her again. And thanks. It's right here. And then there's chasing, and then there's pursuit, and then there's simping, and then there's, oh, you got married and you had kids with her. Now I want a divorce. The end result of that. Then there's the Steven Crowder result. Right? What is that's what gets me. And like I said, I'm trying to sort this out myself. You guys can help me sort it out if you'd like. Right? Geez, I only got one here. Let me look at this. Sideshow Bob. The blank slate conditions men to communicate socially like women rather than men communicate analytically. Yeah. Well, because here's the thing, though, is you still have to be able to, I hate to say this, but you still have to be able to communicate with women where they're at. I think one of the things that really offends guys the dancing monkey guys, the guys who think that doing anything for a woman is you being a dancing monkey. You're jester maxing, right? Okay, what's not jester maxing? I need definable levels here so I can understand this shit. Because pretty much you just ask a girl out, you're jester maxing. And to me, you know what that is? That's just intrasexual competition. It's you trying to convince me, or gaslighting me, to think that I shouldn't go after that chick, or that I shouldn't put my best foot forward, right? Nah, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. You should be miserable like me. Fuck you. I want to fuck this chick. I don't care what the fuck you take. At what point do you go, I want to have a good time with a girl? Because I was going to say let me pull this up here. I have this is from Royce's old site. It's not Artiste now. Artiste.org. And it's got a really great, got a really old article. And it's called The Unbearable Triteness of Hating. Okay. And he wrote this, I think, in 2010. The Unbearable Triteness of Hating. And it was he wrote it in 2010. I was right. So he said this is, maybe I should just read the introduction, because I didn't know, I don't think I ever have. He says, after 3 years of doing this blog, this was from 2007 to 2010, right? A wearisome, predictable predictability in types of hate becomes apparent. The unoriginal uniformity of hate is its most intriguing feature, as it makes one wonder whether humans are pre-installed with mindware that's a great guy, he was such a good writer, that executes in scripted patterns when certain sensitive buttons are pushed, or if the haters all gather in a secret hateasonic temple under the Capitol building to agree upon the approved suite of category of hateration. In the interest of advancing social experiment for the benefit of my amusement alone, I've made a compendium of all the typical incantations of hate directed at game at those of us like your humble narrator. Okay, so there's a lot of different ones here. Bitter beta hate. You're a bitter misogynist. Let's see. Expectation bias hate. No one who writes the horrible things you do could possibly do well with women. But then we scroll down until we get to dancing monkey hate, which is number 16. And this is the one I think is more applicable today. Okay, so dancing monkey hate goes like this. Dancing monkey hate. The hater says this. He says, men who run game are just doing the bidding of women. Alphas don't entertain women. And this is what his response was. He says, if you want success with women, you are going to have to entertain them one way or another. The same is true for women. Once a woman stops entertaining men with her body, her femininity, and her commitment worthiness by getting fat, old, ugly, bitchy, or single mommy, she stops having success with men. Sounds logical. We are all doing the bidding of our biomechanical overlord, and on our knees to his will we surrender by force or by choice. You fool yourself if you believe you have some plenary indulgence from this stark reality. Or, if you can't beat him, join him. And people lose their shit when you bring that up. The dancing monkey thing. It's like, okay, am I a dancing monkey because you told me I'm a dancing monkey, or am I doing this actually because I'm like over the top with all of this? And at what point does chasing become dancing? You become a dancing monkey. Where does gesture maxing begin and pursuing with intent end? I think it all just kind of comes down to the person, right? What did you say? When a guy, here, give it to me here. When a guy keeps pursuing after rejection, okay, good. Sounds like Ben Shapiro. Because I will tell you right now, if I had been that, if I would say, oh, hey, I love you, and she said, thanks, click. I went and actually, you want me to be vulnerable and emotional, and I just told you I loved you and everything, and you say, thanks? There's no, at what point do you say, I don't think there's any genuine desire here. She's not saying I love you back. That's the only, the medium is the message. That's the message right there. When one says not truly interested, it will be considered stalking. Yes. At what point does pursuing become stalking? You know, it becomes stalking when you're not good looking enough. When you're one of the 80%ers and you are trying to put yourself out there, then it's stalking. If you're in the 20 percentile, then maybe it's you're okay. Yeah. So, and that's again, maybe I'm just arguing semantics here, but I'm of the opinion that if guys who fuck and guys who don't fuck manifest different behaviors, manifest different attitudes. So when a woman is talking to you and you're more or less a high value guy by order of degree, subjectively, relatively, however you want to say it, let's just use that as a category at this point. And you're a guy who fucks, you're an alpha male, you're a high value guy. You are going to naturally manifest behavior. You won't even know you are. You will naturally manifest behaviors in your speech, in the words you choose, in your body language, in the decisions you make, in the locations you choose to be in. There's so many things that contribute to that overall perception of your prestige, your status, your looks, your who you are, what you're about, everything else. And those are going to be characteristics and qualities that women innately pick up on as a guy who has fucking options. Women know when a guy looks really, really good, other chicks are probably interested in him too. Okay? So, and especially in this day and age where women are more than willing to share a high value alpha than be saddled with a faithful beta, they're willing to make those concessions more and more. willing to make those concessions right now. I'll share this guy if I have to until I can get him on board. Isn't it better to be with a chick who wants to be with you rather than like you have to like convince her to be with you? That, I think, is the difference between pursuit and chasing. Is the woman into you? Is she about it? Is she interested? Does she let's say reciprocate, but does she respond in a way that says, you know, I would really like to fuck you, but I like you chasing me too. That's kind of cool because it makes me feel like I'm wanted. Okay, fine. But only if you're hot enough to trip that switch. Only if you have value added enough to trip that switch. Then it's a compliment. Then it's like, oh, he's pursued me. You know, I wasn't sure at first. There's a difference between I wasn't sure at first and I hated this guy at first, but I didn't have anything to do with him. But then after a while, I kind of figured I liked him. Yeah, you know what that is? That's he actually had more value than I actually thought he had. And he was the best prospect that I had. I settled for this guy. He was my plan B because he finally showed me these things. Fuck that. And people want to tell you, that relationships are they're always going to end up transactional anyways. And in a way, I can understand that. But they don't have to start that way. That's what I'm getting at. Like I saw this thing. What was it? Oh, I think it was either on Instagram or it was on. Yeah, I think it was on Instagram. It was this study or survey or probably some people pulled out of their ass, but they say like if you couples who spent less than $1,000 or less on their marriages had more stable, long-lasting marriages because it wasn't about the actual wedding. It was about the two people involved. They really wanted to. And I thought about that. And I think like even in 1990, I got married in 1996, right? And I spent less, right about $5,000, $5,000. And I could compare that. God. Okay. I've always sworn perfect transparency to you on this podcast. Okay. I spent probably 35 grand on my daughter's wedding. And it was a nice wedding. It was a great wedding, but I hope I haven't doomed her to divorce as a result of that. But I have to say, my wife and I, we spent $5 grand. And that was mostly catering. We actually got the location for free. But we were living on a prayer, man. We were like the Bon Jovi song. We were, paycheck to paycheck. And my wife could have got with the radiologist. She could have got with the doctors. She could have got with those guys, but she wanted to be with me. She wanted to fuck me. She had a natural desire for me. And here we are 30 years later. I met her in a place you're not supposed to meet quality women, at the club. Meanwhile, Crowder's divorced from Hillary, and I don't know where they meet at church camp.
He gave marriage to.
Yeah, I don't know how long his lasted, but yeah, it's not oh, you did it right, you did it wrong, you did it this way, you spent this much money on it, you did that. It's the people involved, man. It's the fucking people. Is there, you could spend $1,000, you could spend $5,000 on your wedding. If you have genuine desire to want to be fucking each other for the next 30 years, guess what? You're probably going to have a good fucking marriage, right? If you had to run her down and like, if you're a Grant Cardone, you're like, oh, I didn't know if I liked him at first, but then I did, and then I didn't, now I do. And I said, thank you. And blah, blah, blah. I was like, fuck, I would be embarrassed to tell that story. I would hate to tell that story because clearly, I'm not your first choice. I got like 2 fucking nickels to rub together. I had a pickup truck, a Randall half stack, and 2 guitars to my name. My wife could have been dating ER docs and fucking radiologists and anesthesiologists, whoever, the high-paid medical professional. She could have been dating those, but she chose me. So there was something there besides the transaction. Lord knows. Now, thank God, I had prospect. I make more money than any of those guys do now, which is fucking great. I remember that too. I remember when I finally got into the 6-figure range. And I'm like, fuck yeah, suck it, But I didn't have to because that was never an issue. It was just us, It's just been about us. And I don't think people can, like, that's why I don't give you prescriptions about like how to have a good marriage. I don't give you this, here's how you do this. Rolo, I want what you got. How do I get it? You don't get what I got. I can point you in the right direction. I can tell you how I did it. But as I said before, you're not me. The chick you're going to get with is not my wife. Your circumstances are going to be way different than mine. But I can tell you this is like, if you guys are both about each other, it's going to start out as a transactional or this or like if you're relation, I think that's one of the reasons why like the red pill is so threatening to, well, certainly gynocentrism, but like certainly a female primary social order, is because I'm telling you about the transactional nature of marriage. I'm telling you about how if you're like a Ben Shapiro and she's like, thanks, that to me doesn't sound like a really good place to start a relationship. If I tell you that and you go, my girlfriend said that, she doesn't want to have sex with me until marriage, but she's fucked these other guys. Like if I'm giving away the fucking game, that's what they get pissed off at, because they want to be able to maintain options for as long as they fucking can. Like when you look at here, let me put this up here. When you look at, let's see, media assets. There we go. Here we go. This is from my second book. This is from Preventative Medicine. Okay. If you look at the party years right there, right around 20 till 27, 26, 27, right before the epiphany phase, maybe even a little bit past that these days. I don't know. That's the window of opportunity. That's the phases of a woman's maturity where she needs to be able to make the best choices she possibly, whether she's using it to party or get into porn or OnlyFans, whatever, is kind of immaterial. But the span between, like, say, well, I'll just say 18 to 28, that 10-year window right there, that's, women want to be able to get the most out of that. I think on some level of consciousness, they want to be able to get the most out of it. Even the chicks who are like fucking, like, they've got a body count of 60 or 100 or whatever else. Again, it's not just, she's a whore. Okay, yeah, but it's also she's exploring and trying to find out what her best options are. So imagine this. Imagine this year with one of those whores, right? Suddenly, you don't know it, right? Let's just say you're stupid. You get with that girl and you realize, oh man, she's really into me. I'm probably the best. I'm the most alpha dude she's been with, and she really wants to fuck me. Okay, and now you find out she's got a 60 body count. You're probably still going to stick with it. You're probably going to, because most guys are necessitous. Most guys don't vet. Most guys don't, like, if they got a good thing going, they don't want to fuck things up. Why would they? Oh, found out she has 60 bodies. Well, I did like her sucking my dick, but I guess I'm going to have to let her go. Guys don't fucking think like that, man. So when a woman's between like 18 and 28 years old, she's got to maximize those opportunities. That's why I kept saying, like, women went, like, you want to know why women will break rules for alphas and make rules for betas, is because the reason why they break rules for alphas is because if a woman sees an opportunity to get with a guy who is an obvious high value guy, a Justin Waller, an Alan Richardson, the hot guy on the phone cannon party, whatever, she sees that opportunity, hypergamy can't afford not to take that opportunity when it's there. I've discussed this with Coral Osborne before. Women will fake orgasms with alpha guys, more alpha high value guys, than they will with beta guys. And the reason why they do that is because they want that guy to come back. They want that guy. Maybe the chick's on Shark Week or whatever, right? She'll still have sex with the guy, but she wants to be able to get back with him later on. So she's going to do what it takes to maintain the idea that she's really into that guy. She's not, if a chick is with a guy who is like obviously a high value alpha dude, she's not going to go, thanks. That's a blow off to me, right? She's not going to tell, like, Ben Shapiro's girlfriend, who's now his wife, if she were talking to a Justin Waller, or if she was talking to Jason Momoa, or she was talking to a guy who was clearly a high value guy, good looking and everything, and Jason Momoa says, love you. Oh, I love you too. I didn't know if you'd ever say it. Oh, look, let's have babies now. Take me, Jason. It would not be. Do you think the next words out of her mouth would be like, thanks? No, they fucking wouldn't. But they would if it's Ben Shapiro. They would if it's a guy who doesn't fuck. They would if they didn't think there was the possibility could exist that there's a better opportunity for her. That's why women do that. That's why Tammy Peterson turned down Jordan Peterson, his proposals twice before she finally accepted on the third time, at least according to her stories with Michaela Peterson. I have the videos. She finally decided because she was in a position where she's like, he's the best thing I got going. So, okay. Ladies, do you want to get with a guy like that? I would say increasingly more and more women don't want to do that. They don't want to get with the guy who's like, he's better than anything I have going on right now. So I guess I'll start a life with a guy who's the best thing I have going on right now. Women don't want to do that. And increasingly, they don't have to do that. So you want to know why the marriage rate is what 5.8%, 5.8 is just dropped, by the way, in 2025, 5.8. It used to be 6.1, 5.8 per 1,000 individuals. Sorry, Brad Wilcox. Marriage is on the decline again. All that you think people will be signing up for all that happiness. But the fact of the matter is that the women don't have to settle, or at least that's the perception, right? Now, then you'll hear all the people on like Call Her Daddy and everything else saying that they do, or they do, or they don't, or they don't want to. You're getting mixed. You know where the mixed messages are coming from? They're coming from They're coming from Alex Cooper is where they're coming from. Let's see. Marriage is for elite men. Yeah, that's funny. I got into that this week too. Somebody said, it's actually Steve Stewart Williams who posted these stats up. He says, married men earn more than single men. Yes, didn't know if you knew that. They also earn more than married women and single women. So if you're a married guy, you earn more than any other motherfucker on the planet, right? Well, out of those designations, right? And the reason for that is because women don't marry broke fuckers. That's why. Ergo, I make a lot of money. She wants to marry me and I get married. It's not that marriage makes you rich. It's that you're rich before you get fucking married. That's why. It's a prerequisite. Cart, horse, cart. It's like basic math, okay? Yes, rich guys tend to get locked down by women. Also in the news, knife found in kitchen. Knife found in kitchen today. Yes, I didn't know if you knew that. Sam Bada is in the house. Thank you, Sammy. Being rich makes you married. You're correct, sir. It does make you married. Right? So anyways, I'm still up in the air about chasing. What's chasing? I guess we're going to figure it out on Wednesday because I'm going to have the grand wizard of of pussy begging, or whatever the designations are on Wednesday. I don't know what time. I don't know where we're supposed to be doing it. I don't have a link. I'm sure I will let you know as soon as I do. But anyways, I have I kind of wanted to throw these ones at you real quick. God, Ben Shapiro. Why did I even bother? Let's see. Oh, okay. These are too good. All right. So you want to talk about mixed messages? Let's do Call Her Daddy.
Best one night stand
Video
you've ever
one.
had.
So many. I mean, I had so many fun one night stands in my 20s and 30s.
Chelsea Handler.
It's the best one? That's really hard. It's okay. I once had sex with this guy. What was his name? I like to be able to call people out with their first and last names, which is going to be hard for this because I don't even remember his first name. But I once had sex. I don't know if this was the best.
Yeah.
But it was sexy.
Ooh.
And it wasn't a one night stand. It went on for like a week, but it was like a one night thing. I was at the London Olympics in 2012, I believe, and I was staying with a couple of gay friends of mine had a house, and I went over there every night after the Olympics for a week. Had a full on affair with this guy. I
don't even know if I know his last name
or his first, clearly.
And we had this incredible, it was just like just chemistry, but not a lot of like getting to know each other. It was just purely sexual.
Kind of nice.
And then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to the Olympics tomorrow. Like, and he's like, are you going to come back tomorrow night? I'm like, yes, definitely. And then I'd get home at like 10. I'd be like, I'm coming over. And he'd be like, great. And we have a couple drinks and then we'd have crazy sex. And then I'd go back to the friends and the friends whose house I was staying at. I never even told them what was going on. I don't know why, because it was just felt so steamy and like sexy, and I wanted to keep it to myself. You know what I mean?
I think that's how people feel with an actual affair, sadly.
Yeah,
but you weren't cheating on your husband. You were just having a fling.
No, but I would cheat on my husband. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely would. That's why I'm not married.
All right. Chelsea Handler, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Deborah So, I would remind you that this is Call Her Dad. That is not the manosphere. Once again, confirming a manosphere point. Let's move on. All these people is, oh, we're worried about the young men taking all of this in and the youth of the nation being molded by this manosphere Andrew Tate influence. Okay, Chelsea Handler, how about Beth Joy Lenz? Do you want her to
schedule that was essentially implemented into your relationship? Can you talk about that?
It's so wild to even just hear you say that. It's sad because I haven't talked to a lot of people about that. I wrote it and just was like, okay, I wrote it, move on, keep going. To clarify, Daddy Gang.
Yes.
That it was, I didn't have this attraction. I didn't have the drive, really ever. We just weren't connected. We weren't the right people for each other. And so, because I was so disinterested in sex, I was then asked to go on a schedule, basically, of like, here's how you just have to do it. Just do it. This is your duty. This is your job as a wife. Your emotions will fall in line. If you do it enough, then eventually you will find a way to enjoy it. You will find a way to feel connected. And, it's at that point, you're like, again, the things that you hear, if you heard it right away, you'd be like, this shit's crazy. I'm out. But when you're that far down the line and you have so much at stake, and now I'm in a marriage, and now I'm tied up with, and I have no other friends outside of this group, and I've made a commitment, and I take marriage seriously, and I made a promise before God. Like, this is something I really want to figure out how to make it work. Yeah. So I hated it, but I was like, okay, if this is what I'm supposed to do, I'll just make sure that it's happening every, he was back and forth between the Pacific Northwest and Wilmington a lot. So the schedule had more to do with when he was in town. But it was a routine that I had to participate in order to keep the peace in my marriage.
When he would come into.
There you go. All right. So let's take that into consideration. So you're in a marriage and you don't want to, again, this is a difference between the transactional nature of sex and the validational nature of sex. So when that woman is in a relationship with the husband right there, who she decided that she was going to marry before God and her friends and everything else, that's based on, it should be, obviously it wasn't, should be based on a genuine desire to want to fuck that guy. So I will give, ladies, if you're listening, I'll give you some sage advice from Professor Rollo Tomasi. If you don't want to fuck that guy, if you can't wait to fuck that guy, if you can't wait to tear his fucking clothes off every time he walks in the room, every time you see him, don't fucking marry. Do him the favor and you the favor. Don't marry him. If he says, I love you, and you say, thanks, don't fucking marry him. You're not into it. And you're going to base the rest of your life, and not just the rest of your life, but the life of your kids, assuming you have any kids as a result of that, or your families coming together. Because you got to remember that when you're getting married, it's not just the two people getting fucking married, okay? It's mom and dad, it's grandparents, it's the dog, it's the kids that come as a result of that, it's the nieces and the nephews and everything else. You're not just two people are coming together. You have a whole circle of family and friends and everything that friends and family you might not even know exists right there in that moment. Later on down the road, you will. Are you ready to do something like that based on duty? Are you basing it on transaction? Are you basing it on oh, well, he's a doctor. Oh, you're Ben Shapiro. I love you. You're Grant Cardone. I love you. I didn't like him at first, but now I do. As long as he's on top, as long as he's making the money, as long as he's like bringing the money in. Or are you okay with the $1,000 wedding? Do you want to fuck this guy? You just say, you know what? I don't care about marriage. I just want to be with you for the rest of my life. $5,000 wedding, $1,000 wedding. Do you have ladies, the guy you're with right now, guys, you don't get to answer. I don't know how many women I actually have in the chat right now. Are you with a guy where you can go, you ride or die with? You go, I don't care how much we spend on the wedding. I just want to fuck you. I just want to be with you. I'm that into you that I $5,000, $1,000, I don't care. Are you okay with that? Because most chicks aren't. Most women aren't. They don't date. They say you should date for love. Are you dating for love? Or are you marrying for love? Or are you marrying for money? Are you marrying for genuine desire? That's the real fucking question. And is it a desire that you can see yourself have? Like you're 20, what's the average age of 28 right now? You're 28 right now. Do you anticipate that desire being at least somewhat as intense for that guy when you're 38, when you're 48, when you're 68? But people, like women, don't see the forest for the trees when it comes to shit like that. They only see it. They're only in the now. They're only where they're at right now, 28, on top of the world. That's why I've said this before. I was on Valuetainment. Now we were on Mike and I were on with Adam Sosnick, and we had these girls who were on the panel. And Adam goes around all these girls that are on the panel, and he's like, hey, are you planning to get married? Are you planning, like, as if it's some sort of moral imperative for these girls to get married? And for the most part, the girls who were like more leaning towards the 30 side of the spectrum, they didn't want to. They were like, yeah, well, I need to get married. Where can I find the right guy? They asked this one girl who was 23 years old, and she's like, marriage? I'm not even thinking about marriage right now. And they piled on this chick, like, what? You have to start thinking about what's your future? Blah, blah, blah. I said, stop. I said, Adam, I said, you see what you're doing right here. I'm not saying she's right or she's wrong. I said, but notice the dynamic. She's 23. It's not even an afterthought for her to get married. It will be when she's 28. It will be when she's 30, but it's not at 23 because she's only in the now. She's 23. She's not in the 33 mindset right now. She's not in the 43 mindset or the 53 mindset. She's in the 23 mindset, and that's all that exists in the whole fucking universe. Once you know that as a guy, that woman is not thinking about her, for the most part, not thinking about, two cars in a 2-car garage and a golden retriever in the front yard and 4 kids and whatever. She's not they don't want to get married, especially in Miami. That's not even a thought, man. So go with what is at that particular moment. When you talk about like women need guidance from men, right? Women need direction from men. Women need men's protection. Women, of course they're going to say, well, protection from what? Protection from yourself. That's why. You want to know why like young women want to get with older guys is because those guys have already gone through that shit and they know what's coming up next for that girl. In some ways that's really sexy because you can sort of be like her, you could be her mentor. You could say, hey, share some experiences. Muse mastery is much better when you actually have some mastery, right? But it's not just about that. It's about the fact that you have the data. You understand what she's going through and you know how to work with that without being super obvious about it. You already know that she's 23 and she's not thinking about marriage in the future. Okay. How do I go forward? How do I move from there? Right? Am I being manipulative game player? Am I leveraging that? Am I chasing? Am I pussy begging? None of that fucking matters. Like, do you want to get with that girl? You don't want to get with that girl. Make that decision and then move forward from there. But so we got Joy, what's her face, and then you had Chelsea, which is kind of a parallel too. When you think about like Chelsea Handler, who's like I just want to fuck guys, and then you got this one girl who's actually now she's divorced now, but she was just grinding her teeth over duty sex that she allowed herself to get into because that's what we're supposed to do. She followed the rules, and then she felt like trapped by those rules. And let's see. Oh, here's a good one. Call her daddy again.
Do we think a dad would be like a good fuck, or is he going to be lazy?
I fucked a dad before.
Wait, what?
You don't know this story?
Who?
It was like 3 years ago, and I swooped him up at a bar. And
did he like woo you with like the picture of his kids?
No, his sweater. I was obsessed with his sweater. I was like, oh, he looks like a librarian.
No, and he's like, yeah.
And mid-sex, he was like, I gotta be honest, my divorce is like in process right now. And
Wait,
I was
I
like,
think you did tell me
yeah.
this.
And I was like, do you have kids? And he was like, yeah.
No, like mid-stroke, and he's like, oh, I'm thinking about my divorce papers. That's not fucking hot. But
he was a lingerer the next day.
But was the sexual situation?
Yeah. I think dads, because they've like seen some shit, you know, like they've seen a baby come out of a vagina. They've like cleaned up shit diapers. Like bodily functions don't scare
They're
dads.
kind of freaks.
So I think dads are like down to get down and dirty.
The dads,
I think
are down for the weird shit.
Yeah.
Okay, see, this is the kind of shit, Lauren, that I needed to know, because for our single daddy gang, like
don't be scared of dads.
But this is also what I was going to say. I have a feeling that if you are not looking completely for a relationship and you're kind of looking just to like meet people and have good sex, I have a feeling a dad could be the perfect person, because he may not be looking for anything serious.
A recently divorced dad?
Exactly. So like, I don't know, like
recently divorced dads, hit me up.
That's how you could like set your settings.
Recently divorced dads.
Please hit me up. That's in your bio. Okay.
Oh, you are very correct, sir. He used his divorce to delay the thing. Fuck yes, he did. Game recognizes game. Although I kind of doubt that guy probably had any game. He was just fucking lucky. He was just happy some like young chippy was sucking his cock. That's why. Yeah. So let's see. What is that? I can remember when Mac and Murphy was giving me shit. And by the way, also Mike Sartain shit about how women don't really, like young women really don't want to get with older guys. That's just older guys trying to tell themselves that they still got it. Okay, well, I defer you to whoever this bitch is, and Alex Cooper, Mac, and the defense rests, Your Honor. See, once again, it's not the manosphere that is confirming this. It is a show that is very much not red pill, very anti-red pill, anti-manosphere, talking about the exact same, or I should say, talking about confirming concepts that have been part of the manosphere, part of the red pill for 2.5 decades right now. What do you have to say? Guys who want to grift off of the anti-manosphere, what do you have to say? Not to me. You don't have to talk to me. You're not arguing with me. You're arguing with Chelsea Handler and Joy what's her fuck and this chick and Alex Cooper. Those are the people that you need to pick up the argument with. Deborah So, stop fucking with us. Start bringing up Alex Cooper's name on the next Bill Maher show that you're on there. Bring that up. Tell her about Daddy Game. Tell her about the 40-year-old guy who's like, his divorce wasn't quite complete at that point. Well, it probably wasn't complete because he was never divorced in the first place. Did that ever did you ever consider that? Maybe, maybe he just wanted to fuck you one night and be gone. Yeah. Although she said he was a lingerer, which is, hey, can we do it again? And let's see, that was Divorced Dad's Game. And Lucy Hale, here we go. Last one.
God, it was the most passionate relationship of my life and the most toxic. He was a drug addict. He was an alcoholic. I learned habits from him. We were a perfect storm. But there was also a lot of love there. That was also a deeply scary time in my life. I was like, oh.
Can you share some of those habits?
Day drinking a bottle of wine before bed every night. He, at that point, I had never done a drug. And that was like when I was like, oh, I kind of like how that feels. Yeah, it was a lot of just self-neglect. And it was like the day drinking thing. That was when I was like, oh, you can drink the day after? Huh, I never really thought about that. But also, you know, those types of relationships are the most exciting, like the most passionate, like, whoa.
Go.
Like this person, I think I'm like, if I were ever to be in a room with him now, it's still one of those people where I would be so, I'm equal parts terrified of him and deeply attracted to him.
So crazy. I had one of those where it was like, he was definitely into drugs and there's like a thrill element of like the instability, like this person does not have their shit together and it's like every day is fucking different and it's this like exciting rush and it's also what you don't realize is it's like uncomfortable fear that like you are thinking is like attraction, but you're also like, this is my body telling me like I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
And
it's exactly
crazy.
that. Like my nervous system the whole time I was with him was like, I did not regulate my nervous system for a full year, but I also loved that because I told you I loved chaos.
Did you hear that? I love chaos. The next time you hear, and not to run anybody up the flagpole, but the next time you hear some master dude talk about how women need to be their peace, fuck you. There is no peace. You don't want peace. You need to learn to thrive in the chaos. That's what she wants. That's what women want. Is they want a dude who can thrive in the chaos. Not some guys, I want her to be, you don't want her to be your fucking piece. You know, the girl who's your piece, she doesn't fuck you nearly as much or as crazy, as intense as the girl who can't control or can't regulate her fucking body temperature or whatever the fuck it is around you. I'm the guy she talks to her therapist about. That's the dude you need to be. Oh man, the girl I'm with, my wife, she really won't fuck me anymore. Why? Well, she's really hung up on her ex. Why? Well, he really did a number on her. No, she's still he thrived in the chaos. That's why. There it is. Confirmation. Red pill, manosphere, right there. Andrew Tate didn't say it. Rollo Tomasi didn't say it. Myron Gaines didn't say it. This Lucy chick, she's the one. She's the one saying it. It's not going to be the manosphere that confirms red pill stuff for everybody. It's going to be women. It's going to be the chick in the TikTok video in her Honda car, whatever the fuck it is, Honda Civic, doing a fucking TikTok video from the front seat, from the driver's seat of her car. That's going to be the bitch that confirms everything in the manosphere. You didn't want it from me. You didn't want it from the people who are going to spell it out for you, make it understandable. You got to get it from some chick who's crying her eyes out, her makeup's running down her face because of it. You're going to get it from fucking Alex Cooper, but you're not going to get it from me. Okay. As long as you get it from somewhere, I don't fucking care at this point. I'm the one on the DHS watch list, and this bitch is talking about exactly the same thing. It's more than a man can take, I'm telling you. But again, getting back to this, getting back to the title of today's show. Do you want the chick who's going to tell you, thank you, after you say I love you? Or you want to get with the chick who can't stop, if she was in the same room as you, she didn't know if she'd be able to control herself. That's the effect you need on a chick. That's what you have to have. That's you know where you're like, I'm not saying be a drug addicted asshole. I'm not saying like don't be like, just this random force. You don't have to be a convicted criminal to tap into, harness the energy of the criminal, right? Be that guy. You can still be responsible to be that guy. But the thing is she's got to have that There's got to be that thing. And they don't talk about it, but I'll guarantee you that chick has done things with that dude sexually that she will never do with her husband, that she will never do with you, or the next boyfriend. That guy is going to be the dude that she is. Will Costello, perfect example. That dude is the alpha widow. That dude is the guy that she can't fucking get over because he's chaos. He's a force he's a demon. He's Gene fucking Simmons, man. He is the demon, and she can't exorcise the demon. She wants more of the demon. Women love evil. Love evil. Use that. That's a fucking, like, I'm giving you the cheat codes here, for fuck's sake. I'm not even doing it. It's Alex Cooper and this bitch. Lucy Hale? What the fuck was her name? Lucy Hale. Is it Lucy Hale? The fuck was her name? Lucy Hale. I was right. Is this what I think
you saved yourself for marriage, but ultimately you write about having no sexual desire for your husband at the time.
Okay,
how did this?
Sorry, let me pull that out. Sorry, that was just an extension of that other one. So that's an interesting contrast when you think about that. Like the Lucy Hale chick, she's like, yeah, I got to have this guy. I want to fuck this guy. I have natural burning, like I can't think of anything else but fucking this guy energy. And then you got the Joy chick who's talking about how she could never get behind having duty sex with the husband. Is that what you want your fucking marriage based on? Well, it says here in the Bible, you're supposed to fuck me at 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon. Or do you want to be the guy who she can't be in the same room with without being able to regulate her bodily functions, her emotional state, right? Yeah. Yeah, thank you. That's a good comparison. Would you rather be with Jason Momoa or Scott Galloway? Yeah. See, that's the thing. Oh, here we go. Call Her Daddy is unoriginal, fluffy riding the coattails of the female outrage economy. You think? Yeah, it is. But you know what they're also doing? They're also confirming everything in the manosphere. That's why I was using that as an example today. But yeah, so what do you want to be? Do you want to be the guy who's the cleanup guy? Oh God. Remember the Love on the Spectrum?
Yeah.
Thing. Oh wait, I found that thing. I have to put this on here. This is funny as fuck.
Have you been noticing that you're getting emotional watching Love on the Spectrum? That's not random. It's because you are grieving what modern dating has fundamentally lost. I believe that this TV show has to be one of the best dating TV shows out there because it reminds us what falling in love, the early stages of falling in love, should feel like and should look like. And I'm going to explain why. So it's not that these cast members are better at love. It's that they reveal what love should actually look like without all the layers of conditioning that most of us go through with modern dating. So in our typical dating culture these days, it's more of a nonchalant approach. It's almost like a
This chick went to a lot of trouble to make this fucking flow chart here.
badge of honor to not care and be detached. So if you like someone, you feel like you have to wait like 3 days to respond because you don't want to come on too strong. You don't want to let that person know that they like you. Whereas on this TV show, when they like someone, they'll say they'll want to see them again, and they're very clear about that. And the reason for this is this theme around confusing mystery with safety. So when we feel confused or if we're not sure when we're going to hear back from someone, that creates activation because it releases dopamine in the brain. It's not love, and real desire and love can actually grow through clarity. The backwards thing about this is emotional safety is the foundation of building attraction.
Okay, so this is some fucking tea leaf bullshit at the end here. Brazilian power crystals, yeah. Okay, so Love on the Spectrum. Essentially what she's saying is you have to be retarded to believe in love today. Wait, did anybody else get that conclusion out of that one? Because that's where I went with the end of that. That was so fucking great. And let's see. God, these are. Oh god. That's a little too long. I got a bunch of stuff on here that I could probably do like a full video on if I wanted to. Yeah. So, speaking of Scott Galloway, actually, let's throw this one up there.
Luxury item. 4/5 of people in the top quintile of income earning households get married. Only 1 in 5 men in the lowest quintile ever have an opportunity to mate. And
you catch that? Ever have an opportunity to mate? So remember what we said about rich guys? If you get married, you're going to be rich. No, if you're rich, you're probably going to get married. That's really where it goes.
unfortunately, that's more the average or more typical in history. Only 80% of women have reproduced in our species on the planet, only 40% of men.
Okay, I looked this up. It's way lower than that. Okay. I don't know where the fuck Scott Galloway gets. Scott, if I ever have to like interview you or I have to be on the same show as you, the first thing I'm going to say is, where the fuck are you getting all this data? Like, who is telling you this? Because every time I go and run it through Perplexity or something like that, they go, well, those numbers are kind of fudged. And that's being nice to Scott Galloway. Okay. Actually, if you go back to through the genomic record and you go back as far as 8,000 years, like right around I think right after agriculture, then you've got 17 to 1. 17 women reproduce for every one guy. So the 80-40 thing, maybe worldwide, I don't know.
Because the natural state of kind of barbarism and a society just left where it doesn't redistribute money back to the middle class, the natural order is Portia polygamy.
Okay. That's because for the vast majority of human history, there was no middle class, you dumb fuck. You were either rich, landed, nobility, whatever, aristocracy, or you fucking worked the farms, asshat. That's why there was no middle class. There was no middle class until the Industrial Revolution, and even then you didn't have it. That's only that's like a 20th century invention is the middle class. So coming up with this bullshit about, the middle class, like, dude, the middle class has existed for a blink of an eye in human history. Like, even I'm not an economist. I could ask Aaron Clary, maybe he could help me out here. But I'm pretty sure that's the way things fucking are, brother.
Where the few men who are anointed money or so talented or lucky they get a lot of money, they have multiple mates. And the majority of the lower 90 of men don't have any. And it's
well, that all depends. You're talking about tribalism now. So if you look at the Yanomamo tribes, I forget whoever David Buss was talking about, why women have sex. I can't remember the book that Mike quotes this from. Anyways, the fact of the matter is, it's like, if you're a tribal chieftain, you're emperor of dynastic China. If you are, if you're a powerful, there's three things that have defined powerful men throughout history. That is territory, access to resources, and then fucking a lot of women, having a lot of, and they don't necessarily always have to be virgins, but preferably virgins, so that bloodline can continue on. That's essentially where it's been. Or it's not necessarily like 90% of guys don't get pussy. They do. If you're like the best, I don't know, warrior in the fucking tribe, maybe you got 4 wives, right? If you're a clever motherfucker, maybe you got 2. And if you are, just a regular average Joe, maybe you got 1 or maybe you got none. But like, for the love of Christ, man, the stats like this aren't hard to come by. In fact, that's not even the one I wanted to do. So let me pull him out of there. Scott, Scott's a plant. I'm of the opinion now Scott Galloway is a fucking plant.
Yeah.
Like, because every time the guy repeats the same, he has the same script, and every time he goes and does a talk, every time he's on, same thing with Oprah, same thing with everything else. That dude is a fucking plant. Everything he repeats the same horseshit lies over and over again. And remember what we were talking about hearing the emotionalism over and over again? That's one of the guys that keeps perpetuating this stuff. Scott does not want to have that conversation with me. He doesn't want to have that conversation with anybody. He's just there as a mouthpiece for whoever his paymasters are, for whoever's. And I want to actually, maybe that's where I should sort of draw the line with today's show. When we're talking about the manosphere, when we're talking about I started this show out a little bit with Deborah So and Bill Maher. Okay, Deborah So is a plant, whether she knows it or not. She's a fucking plant. And the reason why I say that is because all of these guys, all the people who are like sort of the anti-manosphere message, Richard Reeves is a fucking plant right now. Whether they know that they are, maybe they don't, maybe they are willingly, maybe they are knowingly, maybe they're not. The fact of the matter is the same rhetoric keeps getting replayed. In fact, what I need to do, remember that, Kyle, remember that it was a meme a while back, or it was a video meme a while back, and they went and whoever was doing the collection, they went to all of these like local news stations and they picked up like all over the country, and whatever the topic was, and they literally went and side by side put all these hosts, the anchor people, put them together, and they were almost reading verbatim from the same fucking script. Yeah. I bet you could do the same thing with Scott Galloway, Deborah So, Richard Reeves, probably Chris Williamson, or certainly Steve Bartlett, or whoever their guests are. I guarantee you, if you can find people who are supposed to be critics of the manosphere, I will guarantee you can find pretty much verbatim the exact same messaging from every one of these. Now, the question is why? Why is that? I keep asking, like, every time I have to deal with like Rob Henderson, or I deal with like Scott Galloway for sure, but like even, and I hate to say it because I really like the guy, Steve Stewart Williams, is, he'll complain about how difficult it is to get an article or an essay published about sex differences in the book that is about sex differences, to promote a book about sex differences. Now, the question is not, well, it's difficult to do this. Okay, well, we know that. We knew that before you even wrote the book. But the thing is why? Why is it difficult to do that? And now, so the last video I'm going to play for you right now is this one here with, where'd it go? No. Is there? Okay. I thought it was in topics. Hang on. I might have it in the other one. Let's see. I know I got it. No, it's Dr. Warren Farrell, actually. Let's see where to go. Henderson, Zarting. Mm-hmm. No, it's a bigger one than that. I thought for sure I would have this on here. Anyways, where did it go? It's in the intro. Not that one. Mm-hmm. No, Allison Armstrong. God, what happened to her? Okay, here it is. This is the one. Because it was listed under John Stossel and not Warren Farrell.
These students at the University of Toronto are angry because a so-called men's rights activist was speaking at their college. His words are hate speech, they said.
No hate speech on campus!
They stopped people like this man from getting in to see the lecture.
I've never heard him before. We invite you to educate yourself. So I just wanted to listen to him, but now I can't get in.
The boy crisis.
The so-called men's rights advocate speaking inside was Warren Farrell.
For the first time in U.S. history, boys will have less education than their dads.
Farrell is an odd person to call anti-woman. He was actually an early feminist movement leader. Here he is with Gloria Steinem.
That's shocking.
But as he learned more, he started to disagree with parts of modern feminism.
I don't agree with the part of feminism that says men are the oppressors and women are the oppressed. That part of feminism is sick.
Men are running the government, they run most companies, they make more money.
Our dads and our grandpas, they made sacrifices to make more money, and then
it's also called the apex fallacy, which is where I wish he would have gone. But
feminist movement turned all of that sacrifice on the part of men against men, and they haven't said you were discriminated against men in your own way. You were obliged to earn more money, or we wouldn't even be thinking about marrying you. We wouldn't be thinking about having children with you.
In his book, The Boy Crisis, Farrell notes that both sexes struggle. Today, boys are almost a third less likely to get college degrees than girls, twice as likely to commit suicide. Why is no one talking about this?
Because we have believed for the last 50 years.
Well, funny thing is we've actually been talking about this for the last 24 years, but now we're talking about this, right?
That men had all the privilege and men had all the power.
Men and boys started falling behind when government began subsidizing single mothers.
They tear the family apart by giving the money to mothers when fathers are absent and not giving money to mothers when fathers are present.
That policy, part of the welfare system created in the 60s, helped lead to more households without fathers. Farrell says that hurts boys most. Why are boys more affected than girls?
Boys tend to not have as many skills at developing friendships and developing emotional connections. And so when their family connection breaks apart, it affects them more profoundly than it does their sisters.
Okay, let's stop right there. It's not their skills. It's the fact that they are not wired for that. I wish to Christ we could just get away from this blank slate social constructionism. Again, it's, his feminism is showing once again, right? Or this emotionalism, egalitarianism. Let's blame everything on the upbringing rather than the fact that maybe men don't naturally, innately, mechanically process emotions the same way women do. In fact, the very fact that you're a man and you're presuming that they do shows me that your training and your conditioning over the years has been such to never question the fact that it couldn't be, it could be possibly be anything genetic, neurological, endocrinological, whatever, hormones. It couldn't be anything about like biological differences. It has to only just be that, right? And that yet another reason why I'm kind of like bent out of shape about like Steve Stewart Williams right now, because it's a good fucking book. It really is. He just apologizes for fucking everything.
This 1989 CBS interview captured the changing attitudes after welfare programs started.
I think I can make it as a single parent.
But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really.
It doesn't make any difference whether she needs a man.
Okay, remember, I got this. We're done with this. That's actually a pretty good place to stop because that chick, that was 1989. I'd been out of high school for 3 years when that was shot. That's how long this has happened. That's how this is. I don't think people understand the longevity of all of this. It's easy to, I don't know, maybe it is too easy to just sort of point back to 1965 and the advent of hormonal birth control. And you look at all sort of the cascade effect of everything that happened socially and politically and everything else that went on as a result of that. But when you see it black and white, you see it right there and you say, oh man, this is 89. You look about, hell, you can't even look at like the old sitcoms from the 80s and not go, fuck, what were they thinking back then? Anyways, the point I was getting at is that here we have Farrell being sort of ostracized from speaking at various, college places. And granted, it's an older video, but the fact remains You know, you're going to have people who are going to be pushing back. And I think right now we have this mistaken idea that the woke have been defeated because Trump got into office or something like that. Wait till we get to 2027. We're halfway through 2027 when the election cycle really starts. 18 months before the actual election in the United States, anyways, and certainly by 2028. Guarantee you, all those wokesies that you thought were defeated and were like, you know, buried under, you know, concrete. You send them into the bottom of the ocean. Suddenly they come back, man. Part 2. What do we got here? The last one. My grandfather was born in 1912. Fucking A. Said before the Second World War, you either had everything or you had barely anything. Yes. In 1941, built the American Dream. 1965, it's dismantling that bracket between FDR and LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson. Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. When you talk to older people, like, okay, so for instance, as you know, I take care of my mother-in-law. She lives with us. It's really, my mom and dad are gone. So my only real like family is my brother and my wife's side of the family, who pretty much, to their credit, are all pretty healthy right now. My father-in-law is in his 80s and he's old Texas guy and will still kick you in the ass. So, but anyways, it's great. Sometimes it's good to get stories out of them. Like I love talking to my mother-in-law about stuff. Like she knows what I do, right? And she thinks the girls on the shows are just like, they ain't living right. And she's right, they're not. But now she'll tell me stuff like what it was like before the sexual revolution. Remember how I always talk about how back in the day, like if you were a single mother and you were pregnant, they would have to put you away. She's the one who told me that story. Right? They would have to take you and put you away so that you would, like, the young lady would go have the baby and either give it up for adoption or they give it to the grandparents, and the grandparents would raise it as if it was like an oops baby, but it's really their grandchild, because that social stigma was there. She was the one who told me about that. I got lots of stories from that. You know what? Hold on, let me get to this last one. I just had an idea a minute ago. This is why I harp on post-materialism. The welfare state and feminism give women the illusion that provisioning and protection can be taken for granted. Yeah, until it can't, right? Was it? Women need men to protect them. Protect them from what? Yourselves is what you need protection from. Oh, no, I had this idea, Kyle, and I don't know if I'm gonna do it here or wherever, but it just crossed my mind. I had about, when was it? About 5 years ago? I had this guy and he sent me this box, and I just, one of my followers, right? Just random. And it was this box, and it was about yay big. And in that box was this collection of letters that were written from this guy who was a GI in World War II to his girlfriend, to his chick. And he says, read these, see what you think about that. Maybe you can make a show out of these things. And I still haven't got through them all because there's a lot of them. But from what I was, because it's all written in cursive, so it's like kind of hard. It's from 1941, 42, something like that. Okay. And you can tell because the postmarks on them, it's U.S. Navy. It has like the military postmarks on the actual letters. And so yeah, I'm reading these things and I'm going, everybody thought the greatest generation was like, oh yeah, we're going to go out there and make a sacrifice. We're going to storm the beaches of Normandy and everything else. And yes, they did. Thank you very much for your service, guys. But they weren't, they still had the same kind of like, I'm going to pursue this chick. Like I got the letters of this guy who's like sending, back and forth to his girlfriend that he thinks is going to stick with him until he comes back from the war. And he goes, it's funny because from what I've read probably about 80% of these things. Mm-hmm. And he goes from being this really naive kind of like young dude to he gets it.
He understands.
I could literally write a book about this. Like it would make a fucking fascinating book. But I have these letters, and I think what I might do is I might like do a show. I might have to do multiple shows where I read these letters and just like kind of show the letters as I'm doing it. It'd be interesting to me. I don't know if it'd be interesting to anybody else, but I think it would be fucking awesome. But the thing is, I think that we have this idea that certain generations thought a certain way, or they were like, hey, your mom, the greatest generation, they didn't care about, you know, pussy and everything like that. They just did what they needed to do. And I'm like, no, they actually thought about pussy quite a bit. They didn't paint those chicks on the bombers there, you know, the big titties out here, you know, they didn't paint those on there for nothing. Okay. If they were going down and they were going to die in a bombing raid, the last thing they wanted to see before they got thrown out the fucking, you know, cockpit was this beautiful woman, right? Yes, they wanted to get laid. Yes, so don't think they didn't. Was it your grandmother's spread for sailors? Thanks, Nuke. All right, guys, that's it for today. I will be doing a show with Mike Sartain. Man, we got a big show today, man. 4,400. That's fucking awesome. Thank you for watching today. I don't know who gave me the raid, who pushed all that shit over to me. But anyways, thanks for watching today, guys. I'm going to be doing, let's see, I will be on with that chick, Raging Tomato chick. I forget her real name. My bad. That'll be on Tuesday. That'll be a panel show that I'm going to do with her. We're going to talk about the Gary the Numbers Guy show. Then I also am going to be doing a show with Mike Sartain and Paul Elam on the 8th. That will be a Wednesday. We do not have Access Vegas just yet. Actually, the next Access Vegas is going to be on August. It's going to be on July 15th. We got that coming up. We have some special guests coming for that one too. There's a distinct possibility I might get asked by Tim Pool to be on the show sometime. Really, please? I would love to be on the show again. If I can, and this is you're on notice. If I can get Phil Labonte sometime between now and when they leave on the 10th, I'm going to do that and get him in here just for, even if it's just for an hour or 90 minutes. Phil Labonte from Tim Pool, but he's also the lead singer of All That Remains. And a good friend of mine, and lifts weights, and just had a baby, and he's just a good all around dude. Got himself into a little bit of trouble recently because he was saying somebody picked someone in the metal community picked up on the fact that he was saying that like what women need men or something along those lines. It got really, really controversial. So I'll probably be talking to him about that. So he's a good dude. Every time I've been on the show with Phil, we've had some good exchanges, and I kind of want to see if we can go with that again. I want to have a good conversation with him sometime. But yeah, Phil Labonte, All That Remains. If I can get him this week, I'm going to do my damnedest to do so. More than likely, I am going to be on Mike Sartain's new podcast, which is called The Sartain Report. He's doing that, I believe, on Wednesdays and Fridays now. So if you haven't subbed to his channel, please do. If you haven't subbed to my channel, please do, because I still am trying to figure out if I'm still locked at 224,000. Because I can't seem to gain more than that, and I can't seem to lose any more than that. So I am in a weird limbo state, which is probably the result of YouTube colluding with diverting hate to lock me where I'm at as far as my subscribers are concerned. But of course, then they say subscribership doesn't matter anyway. So what matters to me is the 4,394 people watching the show right now. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, like the channel, tell YouTube you like the channel, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Substack, which I was unable to initiate this time to do a live stream with. But I am everywhere, so go check me out on all of those. If you want the next essay, please check out Substack, which is where I do a lot of my writing. Until then, I guess I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed the show today. I'll talk to you soon. See you next Sunday. Bye-bye.
It was my first time, but I was just a kid when we met and went to bed. It was my first time. What you expect from me? I'm breaking up the rules now in the game. I've got some new tools. Please do the same. Time came by and went over like a matchbox stereo. the bathroom, tearing up every wall while I got your hair. Why you screaming my name?
That's nasty. It is nasty, right? Isn't it nasty?
She was swinging in the bedroom, whole time stopping and stubbing with her head like she's calling you Kelly.
Well, I'm a whore.
Run me, ride me up and down like a pony, turning up my song, getting nasty, working up and down on your body. Run me, ride me up and down like a pony, turning up my song on your body. Ain't nobody got time for that. Do it all night, but maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things we did for later. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? 'Cause I need to know, and maybe we can fuck again, and do everything we did for later. Goddamn, baby, one more again.
Preceding podcast has been a production of the Rational Male. All rights reserved. A registered trademark. 2026. Don't steal my stuff.
Stop the cap.
It's the mountain too. FBI, open up. And maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things we did for it. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know. And maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things we did for it. Goddamn, baby, one more again. The best day of my life.
God wants you to have the baby.